everybody. Welcome to the show. Tonight is a very, very special night. I do have a very special guest on tonight. Hey there, Adam. Hey there, Kathleen. Uh, Tonight, it's a totally different show. It's has to do with magic and movie and stuff like that for tonight's show. Uh, I can't wait to bring him up. He's a real good. I've watched his videos on YouTube and everything, so we will get him on here just as soon as I go through these announcements. Uh, Next Sunday, well, this Sunday, my friend Emma's supposed to be on the show with us, just to see what she's got going on and everything else. Hey there, Aaron. Hey, Raymond. Show me the magic. We'll get to it right here just in a few minutes. Lisa says, hi, everyone. My buddy Dwayne says, hey, my friend, waiting all day for this. I appreciate it, buddy. Mom knows treasure. Hey there. I'm glad to see you in. And I got a Facebook is David Holt. All right. First thing, every Sunday night is my regular scheduled shows at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We interview different paranormal groups, but we're actually going to start doing a little bit things different with the show. Next Friday, we've got our group cookout for our family members. That it's appreciation for letting them know that we thank them for letting us go out and do videos, and it takes a lot of time away from our families when we do paranormal investigations. So we want to give back to them and just have fun, spend all day with them. So, hi, it's Shasta. What's up? Hey, Shasta. Nothing much. We're getting ready to start the show here. Let's see. October the 8th, the book about the Trivet Clinic is they doing a launching that book, and I'm invited. Me and my dad has been invited to go to that, so that's going to be October the 8th. October the 9th, Irene is going to come back on for the show, and we're going to do talk about more about gifts and stuff like that with her on that show, and maybe we can help out some people to learn how to use their abilities and their gifts and stuff. Then we got Halloween special. It might be moved back to the 30th instead of 31st. I forgot that a lot of kids has got doing trick-or-treating. We made it. Where is all the magic? It's getting ready to be here in a few minutes. But we are going to try to get things done. So now, the one that everybody is waiting for, here he is, Ron Fitzgerald, and we're going to take questions from the audience here in a little bit and everything. So here he is. Hey there, bud.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. Right. How are you?
What's that?
So,
yes.
Just let us know how you got started in your magic and stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining me on here with you, and thanks Christopher for having me on with you. Yeah, I got started. I was a kid with a box. I got a box of magic. I mean, I know a lot of people start that as a kid. They got like a magic kit or something like that. And that's how I started, but I had no idea that was like my entry into show business at that point, And I started performing, and I was young. I was like 8 years old when I started, and then went on from there. And then later, once I had, started performing professionally, and that started when I was like 12, I was doing like other kids' birthday parties and, stuff like that. And, where you would typically see a magician, and it was all like birds and bunnies and, you know, and very traditional magic at that point. And then later, I had a friend pull me aside and she was like, you know what, you're way more interesting off stage than on. And at that point, I just wanted to make the show that I wanted to see. And I was a kid that loved like horror movies and sci-fi and comic books and superheroes and the paranormal and Halloween and haunted attractions and all of that. So what I call, and a lot of refer to as just dark culture. And then I later discovered the Gothic subculture and all of its cool music and fashion. So I infused the show with all of that because the show I had been doing that was just a nice family show wasn't, it was no longer entertaining to me or my crowd, my contemporaries. And that's when I went off down to the dark side and started doing that. And in the meantime, I had done like theme parks. I had my own cable TV show. It was YouTube before there was YouTube, actually. Yeah. And then I got asked because I had created such a look for myself, and everybody liked what I was doing, and it was dark, horror themed kind of illusion, Gothic illusion is what I call it. And at that point, I got invited to be in horror movies, and I said, hell yeah, because that was part of the inspiration for the, in the first place. So it all kind of came around full circle, and then I started doing both, and that's what I've been doing for like the last 20 years is performing my Gothic illusion show and performing in dark dark cinema and horror movies and things like that, because the same audience that'll come and see my dark Gothic illusion show, and it's the same audience that'll come and see me in a horror film.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, and that's kind of how I became the master of the dark realm, and that refers to the dark illusion show, which I call Dark Sticky Fun. And then it also refers to, acting in horror films and all that. And it refers to my movie that I made, Dark Realm. And I've got a copy of that here. That's it right there. It's on Amazon Prime Video, streaming in the US and the UK and other places now as well. You can find that all over on Amazon. Can you see that okay? There we go. Yeah. And it's also on DVD. If you go to my page and go into the links and stuff, you'll find it. You can get the DVD or just go stream it on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And so it's kind of a reference to that, my title of, Ron Fitzgerald, Master of the Dark Realm. And it kind of sounds like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It's kind of a little play on that as well, because I love all the horror hosts.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it went from where I started into what I do now, which is radically different. I had no idea there was all of this weird, dark, sticky fun in that little box of magic I got when I was a kid.
Where all have you performed your magic shows at?
I have performed from Hollywood, the Magic Castle out there, all the way to Hong Kong at the Hong Kong Halloween Festival. Who knew Hong Kong had a Halloween festival? But I was working with a producer, and he'd been doing it, and he sent me over to do it one year, and it was great. What a great experience! But I've been all over. I've been all over the country and into the UK, and and sadly, I'd like to get back there because I have not performed there in a long time. But all over the place, and a lot of different dark theme conventions and events and horror conventions, things like that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I never would dream of Hong Kong to have some kind of a Halloween get together like that. That's pretty cool.
It was really amazing to do that because I loved to travel. And it was great to travel there, and went to China proper and also to Macau, and Hong Kong. Just so much to explore there, and performing for them was really great. There was this one thing that I do in the show where I actually, cut my co-performer's head off. I cut her head off and then walk around with it and put it back on her and stuff. And I've done that on television here and everything. You can see that on my YouTube channel if you want to see it. And it was great because in Hong Kong, when you take her head off, people actually gasped and screamed in the audience. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I said that would be pretty neat.
Oh yeah, but who knew that they had exported, Halloween there? Halloween's really big, here in the States and in Canada and in Ireland, which is kind of where it stems from. It came from there, and uh, but we exported it all around the world, and it was really fun to go do that Hong Kong Halloween festival. It was just, that blew my mind. I loved it. I loved it. It was a great time.
We got a question right here. It's a pretty
Yeah.
good one. It's for you. It
Okay.
says, I have a strange. I have a. I've heard of strange considerate thing that happens. I can't even hardly read that.
No, I know it's hard to read. They should let's blow the text up a little better. I can't quite read it either without grabbing a
It
specs.
says, film set like the Poltergeist curse. Do you think it's more common in horror productions or pure considerate convenience? No, I can't even read the question. My bad.
Well, I'm starting to kind of get it. Go through it again and see what are you wondering about? They're wondering about something to consider about horror production.
Yeah. Is it Poltergeist curse? Do you think it's more common in horror productions?
What's more common in horror production? I'm not clear on that part of the question. Could you pop back in the chat and tell us, what exactly you're asking about? What's more common in horror production? We're kind of missing it. Put it in all caps so we see it, so we can see it.
I'm having trouble with reading it tonight. My eyeballs.
No, I know it is hard for me to read too because the text is small. There's not enough contrast. Yeah. I've usually got my director producer with me, and he reads me all the comments and everything because he can see them. He's sitting behind a much bigger monitor, where I'm on the laptop tonight.
Yeah.
So just tell us again, if you're in the chat, tell us again what you're asking us, because I'd love to answer that once I know what you're asking, what the whole thing. Is it about the paranormal representation in horror or something like that? I don't know. I can't.
Strange things happen in horror productions. I guess.
Oh, you mean in the production, like as they're making it themselves, like behind the scenes kind of weirdness, like in Poltergeist? I don't know how often that is. I've heard of it more than a few times. Other than the Poltergeist movie, you hear other like cursed movies and like weird crap happening, behind the scenes on movies and stuff. So I think it can happen. I think it depends on where you're filming or what you're dealing with or anything. I mean, if you're like dealing in an actual paranormal location, if you're in a cemetery, an old, dwelling, a house or something, or maybe you're shooting in like a closed down facility, like an old medical or mental institution and stuff. I've heard of weird stuff going on there during filming and stuff. And then equipment like cameras just shutting down and everything. I've heard of stuff like that. I've never experienced anything like that. I've had my own like weird experiences with something more on the paranormal, but that was at home. It didn't have anything to do with work per se.
Yeah. Hey, Shasta, my cousin. Yeah, I sent you a link, Shasta, to come up and help me out. I can't. My eyeballs is messing up. This is my cousin. She's going to help me tonight. She can read you the questions better than I can.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, have her come in and read the comments for us. That's perfect.
Hey.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for helping us.
We got a lot of feedback, Shasta.
Hold on, I'm going to get rid of some of this echoing and see if that's better.
Oh, that's better.
There we go.
I didn't just turn the sound down.
Yeah, so I'll just look at the questions. If you pop them up there, then I can take a look at them as they come in, because it doesn't let me.
Will you read this question right here for him?
Okay,
Maybe.
that one, I've heard of strange coincidences that happen on horror films sets like the Poltergeist curse. Do you think it's more common in horror productions or pure coincidence? So I think what she's saying is like versus horror movies like the death of the little girl, Carrie Ann, versus 'cause she died shortly after the movie was filmed to some strange circumstances versus a regular film. Does it happen more often on horror film sets?
Well, we kind of answered that, but I don't know that it's more indicative of horror, probably, but it's like I've kind of heard some spooky tales and stories, about it seems to be darker material, like if they're shooting
Right.
like a thriller or something dark, certainly horror. And, and it's like even on the paranormal shows, weird stuff does happen.
Right.
Sometimes I don't think it's happening. Sometimes they're going, "Oh, what's that noise?" I'm like, "That's your producer throwing a rock at the wall." But sometimes I think there is genuinely weird crap going on. There's stuff that you don't understand.
Exactly.
But is it more in horror? Maybe just because of the subject matter and where the location might be, possibly more than.
Well, but they tend to film in horror haunted locations. So
Exactly.
I guess maybe if you're looking at the location too, maybe that ties all the factors together. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Weird
So
stuff
maybe that
happens
does.
when you're shooting in cemeteries and things like that. We've been shooting I redid Monster Mash with the band Housemaid at Dawn, and we were recently out in a cemetery shooting some of the video, and when we were doing that, all of a sudden 4 squads pull up, and the officer that came out to talk to us said, "We got a report of vampires in the cemetery," and that was me. So we had to stop shooting for a little while and talk to them. They were more amused. They just wanted to see what was going on. And they actually were super cool about it. And they let us go back to filming after they took off. But they had to go see what the report of vampires in the cemetery was about, which I think is hysterical.
Wow.
So not actually haunted weirdness, but weirdness in the cemetery, certainly.
Well, and then you never know what you're catching on your film either. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Have you ever
my director and editor hasn't said there's any orbs on it or anything yet. So I'm like, put it in.
Got another one right there. Have you ever got into accident?
This is ancient cannibalistic. Have you ever got into ancient cannibalistic symbology?
Wow. No, I'm not familiar with that at all. I mean,
You're gonna have to
I
look
don't even
that
know
one
what
up.
ancient cannibalistic. I mean, I'm
gonna have to look that one up.
fan, but that's a different. That's a different cannibal altogether, not ancient. So
is it Kabbalistic?
Oh,
Maybe I said that. Kabbalistic. I said cannibalistic.
Yeah, a little bit of the
Kabbalah.
Yeah, the tree of
Sorry,
life.
I said that wrong, Aaron. Oh Lord, I'm trying to get you to eat people here. Lord, I can't read it either.
No, it's just from cannibals to Kabbalah. That's a whole other.
I better get my reading straight too, or I'm gonna have to go back to the other side of the room and in my little corner.
So, yeah, I am actually. It's like studying and reading and the occult, Kabbalah and occult symbology. I am interested in that because I'm interested how I can use it theatrically in my theatrical magic show and other things. It's like you can see. It's like this is try and get it up here. We can see it. That is my logo right there. And you can see it's kind of based on a pentagram and other things and old crosses in it and stuff. Yeah. And you can get those if you want the link. The store is linked in a lot of my videos and other places online. If you need the link, you can always message me or something. Yeah. Anybody out there. But I am interested in that kind of symbology, and I use it in some of my graphic design and things because I like to get into that. And I'm a huge like David Bowie fan, and Bowie in the 70s was very into the occult and everything. Aleister Crowley and other things, and heavily into the Kabbalah. And you can see him even into some of his last videos in the Black Star album, his very last piece that came out like 2 days before he passed. there's like some Kabbalistic references in those videos in Lazarus and Black Star. Really interesting, really fascinating.
Here's another one, Ron. It says,
Yeah.
are you ever mistaken for Dennis O'Hara? Whatever. Is that, I say that right, Chess?
Oh,
Yeah, Dennis O'Hare.
Riff Raff, you mean?
I'm not sure who that is. Dennis
That's,
O'Hare.
What's the name again?
Dennis O'Hare?
Dennis O'Hare. No, not Dennis O'Hare. I've been mistaken for I'm totally spacing his name right now. The actor that plays Riff Raff, because he's got a shaved head now. Oh, come on.
Oh, well, I mean, I can see why they're saying Dennis O'Hare from American Horror Stories.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I haven't gotten that one yet. I did have somebody. I had a girl follow me through Hot Topic thinking I was Billy Corgan one day. That was weird.
But this is Dennis O'Hare from American Horror Stories. I don't know how well this is going to come up because it's going to be really, really bright.
Get it really close to your camera. It looks pretty good. There you go. Yeah. No, nobody's ever told me that yet.
Well, we've got one tonight, so there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'd love to get on that show. Actually, it's one of my favorite shows. I love too. A lot. Yeah, I love American Horror Story. Some of it doesn't work so great, but the seasons that are good, really good, are amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'd love to do some of that. But thank you. That's a compliment. Thank you. What's next? More questions from the audience? And thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's fun. I'm glad you guys actually showed up to see something that's not, strictly paranormal, just, lots of spooky weirdness with what I do.
Here's another question from David Holt.
Let's see. Have you or anyone in your crew ever had a spirit attachment?
Not an attachment, but I mean, I was talking to Christopher about this before the show. So here's my kind of weird metaphysical paranormal experience. I was not feeling great at the time, and I was up for some surgery and stuff. And this had been an ongoing situation. This is like 20 some years ago now. And I was laying in bed with my girlfriend one night, and all of a sudden, at the end of the bed, there was, I'll call it an entity. And it was like a black shrouded character that was laying like I'm laying down in the bed, and facing up. And it's at the foot of the bed down here, and it's kind of facing down, and its head came up, and it's a skeletal face, and its arms were out and had skeletal hands. And it seemed like it just hung there, for the longest time. You lose track of time. I'm sure it felt like much longer than it was. But then as I was laying there, it slowly started to move up over me. And at that point, because I was more fascinated, it was just hanging there. I was content to watch it and go, well, what the hell is this and what is going on? I wasn't on any sort of medication that would cause me to hallucinate or anything like that. I was awake. My girlfriend slept through all of this. But as that thing started to come up to floating over me, where it was like face to face with me, my fight or flight kicked in, and I took a swing at the goddamn thing. I swung so hard it rolled me out of bed onto the floor. and my girlfriend woke up at that point because she heard me hit the floor, and the entity was just gone. It was it. Never saw it before then, never saw it after, just bang, gone. And I have not ever really felt like I know what it looked like, and it looked like the Reaper, but I never really got a sense of, what that was, or that it was ever, coming back for round two. I'm like, but it was weird. It was a very weird, that's like the most intense, like really metaphysical, paranormal kind of thing that I've gone through. I've had other things happen. It's like I have friends playing with a Ouija board and it asked to talk to me. There's some weird stuff like that, but that was not as intense as that shrouded, skeletal figure floating up over me. It was weird. It was really. It's a great story now, but it did. It was fairly disturbing at the time. You know.
Yeah. Got another question here for you from
Yeah.
Aaron.
On this one, this is from Aaron Hoffman. It says, does your practice have any roots in any ancient cultures or beliefs?
Well, I certainly, because part of my audience I found that was attracted to what I'm doing, there is definitely some occult references and references to like Wiccan and pagan philosophy and things like that. I don't subscribe to any religion myself, but I'm quite fascinated and feel a great affinity for the Wiccan and the pagans in the audience, and I like studying that. So there is through lines into that, and the witches. In fact, one of the things I usually close a big illusion show with is a witch burning. And, it's a cremation illusion I do live on stage. And we have somebody dressed as a witch. And then I put her in the coffin, light her on fire. And at the end, there's nothing left but a smoldering skeleton. And it's all laid out as a witch burning. But it's more to speak out against that violence towards women and witches and that sort of thing, because I open it up. The lead in to that illusion is a rhyme, a piece of poetry that I wrote called it is a witch they wanted and a witch they found, and a trial they had in their happy little town. But the witness was a liar, and the witch was already on fire. And that kind of sets it up, so you know where I'm coming from as I do the actual illusion. And then I don't bring her back. It's like, it's smoldering skeleton. Good night, everybody. That's the end of the show. But I do draw on things like that and other, and anything that gets into, mystery and mysticism. Because a lot of the show, what informs it a lot is like all of this dark culture, whether it's sci-fi or comics or whatever. It's comes from a place of dark mystery and the mysteries of life. And then it's presented with humor. It's like the illusions are kind of presented seriously as vignettes, and as an actor, I can step in and out of that. But when I'm hosting the rest of the show, when I'm working with the audience and bringing somebody up to do something with on stage, then it's more funny. Then it's got a lot of humor in it and stuff. So it's more like, it's almost like a horror host hosting horror movies, but then they themselves are kind of making fun of it and having fun with the audience and everything. It's kind of like that. So in that way, it kind of goes towards, horror hosting as well. But in terms of what you're talking about with, am I drawing from anything like that? I do. And I consider that, because that it is already attracting, that element in my audience. And I am interested in that as well. So yeah. To make a short answer really long.
We got another one right here for you.
Sure. Yeah, Zach, keep them coming.
This one is, let's see, do you have any rituals for protection or for good luck?
I do a lot of affirmations and things. They're good to, just to put good stuff in your brain, like, when you're still in that twilight period, just before you go to sleep, when you first get up. It's a good way to hack things, get them in your subconscious mind. So I do some affirmations then. And, one of them is that, that I'm loved and protected, I'm supported and provided for. And that's something I run through my head a lot. So there are things like that. I wear this amulet a lot. I have for a long, long time. I got it years and years and years ago. I mean, I got this before I ever went to the dark side with my performance, with my show and everything. It just seemed like the dark and the weird came looking for me. It always seemed there waiting for me. And that was something I really strongly felt, and on an intuitive level, that this is where I need to go with the show. It was the things that, that I held interesting personally. And then to make the show my own, then you have to infuse it with your own personality. And that's where it came from. But I always felt like there were little things kind of nudging me towards turning the show into what it is now. So,
Yeah.
and then as far as like, other things that I particularly wear, no, I do have crystals around the house and stuff like that, but, and I, in fact, when I moved into the space, my girlfriend and I, we saged the whole place. So I do things like that. Yeah. And I do respect that. And I like that. I think it's just a nice ritual when you move into a space anyway. So,
Yeah.
so there are some things like that I do, but nothing particular that I wear other than this. This seems to be kind of a, I guess a lucky charm for me or something. I've worn it a lot. I wear it on stage all the time.
Yeah.
And clearly I'm wearing it tonight. So it just looks cool. I get a lot of comments on it, a lot of compliments from people. So it's good. How's the lighting looking in here? Am I okay for you? Do I need to turn that up?
It's just a little bit dark. I mean,
All
the
right.
background dark.
Well, pull up another question and I'm going to pop around and turn the light up a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm right here with you. I'm not going anywhere.
You have any questions, Shaston, for her?
Oh yeah, I was going to ask, since we were on horror movies. I was just going to ask, who is your favorite horror movie icon?
Vincent Price.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm old school with that, but I like Vincent Price. Just gave this great upscale sinister. Is that better? The light, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looked like it was getting dark because it's getting dark outside, so my natural light's going. But Vincent Price, because he just gives great upscale sinister, and it just seemed a little more sophisticated, and he's got that great voice, and so yeah, I mean, as far as like an actor that did a lot of horror and everything, and Edgar Allan Poe, in the old Roger Corman movies from the 60s, definitely big into Vincent Price.
And I
go ahead.
The icons.
Pardon?
I was going to say, I like the icons like Bela Lugosi and Vincent Price.
Absolutely.
And the classics. A lot of people now don't really know, when you say those names, they don't know who they are. And it's good to hear people that come back and say, like Elvira. I can't imagine. There are so many people nowadays. I heard you mention earlier, Elvira. There are people that don't know who she is. And that hurts my heart.
I know.
People don't know who Elvira is.
Well, times and everything moves on, but yeah, it seems like it's like, well, I think my first entry into horror was, when I was a kid, was old, Universal horror movies, Dracula, Frankenstein, Mummy, Wolfman, all that stuff, it was on TV. They were horror hosting it. That's been horror hosted to death for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And I mean, so that was kind of my entry in. So, and then Elvira. I mean, now you see everybody's still very much in love because everybody's, got a lot of nostalgia going on now for the 80s and the 90s. So those great horror franchises of the 80s they seem to be as much loved now as ever. And I like seeing that because I love it. It's like, Nightmare on Elm Street. I love, Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund. And then, Friday the 13th, Ari Lehman, who's the very first Jason Voorhees, is a friend of mine.
He's such
awesome.
A sweet man. He
is an awesome dude. And I've opened for him in his band. That was like one of the first things. That's where I first met him. We were at Flashback Weekend horror convention in Chicago, and his band was playing, and we had a split bill. We were both on the show together, and that's where I first met Ari, was through his band First Jason. Mm-hmm. So, so that still, everybody still loves Friday the 13th. I love Hellraiser, Doug Bradley, and I've gotten to meet him too. And it just, all of those things. And Chucky's got his own series now. So, Child's Play, all of that stuff. It's just, it's hot as hell even now. It's like, never wants to let a franchise die. So they just keep bringing it on.
I think more people need to do that. They need to teach the younger generation, because that's like my daughter is. Well, I've taught my daughter who these people are. My daughter's 9, but she's met the icons like that. She's met Elvira. She knows who Elvira is.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, she's met her. She's cosplayed as Elvira. She's met Elvira. Ari Lehman. Ari Lehman is the first time I met him, I was jealous that he had better hair than me. he
He
was
does
in the
have great
floor.
hair. And you can see, this is
Oh,
my answer to hair. I just
he
send
had
it all
better
back
hair
to
than me. And
the
I'm like,
team.
who is this guy on the floor? Well, he was in the floor playing with my daughter. My daughter's
Mm-hmm.
3, and they're sitting in the floor
Yep.
playing with a Chucky doll together. And I'm like, who is this man playing with my daughter in the
I
floor?
know.
And then up pops Ari Lehman. And I'm thinking, what are you doing in the floor? And all these people are taking pictures. And it was him. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, that's just odd. But that's how I met Ari Lehman, was in the floor playing with a Chucky doll. And I'm like, this is just
He is
not
an
happening
awesome
to me
human.
right now.
He's always
He
very
is.
much in the moment like that. Yeah.
Well, and all of them are. I've met, I think, 5 of them, 4 or
Mm-hmm.
5 of the guys that played the
That's
character
awesome.
that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the world opened up with them. But I think
Yeah.
if we go back to the old school and look at the icons back then and the way things were
Mm-hmm.
made back then, it was so much easier and simpler times, but the movies were amazing
Oh
versus
yeah.
what we get now with CGI and
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that classic monster is so gothic because it was black and white too,
exactly.
and that's something that we're kind of missing now sometimes in that vibe, because everybody's so afraid to go black and white, in a when we have color movies everywhere. Color's great if you're doing gore and things like that. I mean,
Right.
or Suspiria, the use of color in Suspiria is amazing. But um, there is a lot to be said about doing things, color treating movies, either bumping something, either the whole thing or segments in black and white, or in like a, desaturated kind of look to it, or like the underworld movies where they're all got that blue hue over everything, to keep it in that night feel. Amazing. I love that use of that kind of color in things.
Got another question here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. It says, what single horror film do you consider to be the best horror film?
There's no single. That's such a hard question. I know everybody wants to know, what's your favorite? What's the one film that you just can't, not sit down and watch if it comes on the telly or something? I can't. I have so many favorites from different eras and different genres. It's really hard to boil it down to one. I mean, one of my favorites is a real cult hit by Herschel Gordon Lewis, the godfather of gore, which is called The Wizard of Gore. And The Wizard of Gore, it definitely was an influence to my movie Dark Realm. And if you go watch it on Amazon, you'll see, because there's some surreal kind of things happening. And The Wizard of Gore is very much like that. I mean, the effects are not sophisticated at all, super low budget, and was also shot in the Chicago area where I'm located. And there's just something magical and just really super weird, and it's very grindhouse. So I like that, but I also love stuff like The Lost Boys is a huge favorite, and it is for a lot of people. I love that. But I like old Christopher Lee movies, all that Hammer horror and things like that. That's all like boobs and blood and Dracula with red contacts and everything. I mean, Christopher Lee was amazing. I mean, he was another, kind of like Vincent Price, and it's the English accent and everything, but it's more upscale sinister. And then you can go back to like Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi and those, super old, Universal movies. And, so it's like even Bride of Frankenstein is a huge, huge, huge favorite of mine. And that's ancient at this point by today's standards. And then newer things, I mean, there was a lot of movies in the 80s. I like the remake of The Fly a lot because it's so grotesque the way he transforms in that. It's just there's a bunch of things. I'm trying to go beyond. I mean, and if you want to go like super upscale and big budget for your vampire movies, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's a gorgeous film. Really, really good. Oh yeah, Gary Oldman. Any dude that can play Dracula and Sid Vicious and Commissioner Gordon, that's an actor in my book, right there. That man is amazing.
Here's another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Says, go ahead, Shaz.
Oh, I was going to say, it says, ask if you remembers the old Shock Theater days.
A little. I know of Shock Theater and stuff. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I know of it, and it's there's a lot to be said for that style is very cool.
So I'll just say, if anybody's not familiar with Shock Theater, which I had to look it up. It says it's a package of 52 pre-1948 classic horror films from Universal Studios that was released, I guess, back in October of 57, maybe. And basically, I guess they released it out to play in the series of movies that came out.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the first one that was actually the very first horror hostess was Vampira, and she was hosting all those Universal horror movies in the 50s, and she was the very first horror host. So it must be when that package of movies was finally released, because in the beginning the movie business was terrified by television, and then they looked to work together, and it was just another place for your movie to go after it had run theatrically. And then it started to play nicely together. Of course, now we have streaming, and everything's got, like, especially if it starts theatrically, it goes from there, and it goes television and on demand, and still a lot of us still want things on disc and everything. So there's still a lot of physical media out there, and then it goes off into the streaming market and everything too. So a movie, especially if it starts theatrically big, has many lives now, which is good, because you need more life in your movie to make your money back. Yeah.
Right.
Got another one right here. What is the title of Ron's movie?
A Dark Realm. Here, I'll show you. This is, let me get it. Come here. In 3D. That's what it looks like. But
I'm sure we can include a link.
Yeah, if you search for it either online, but if you go to Amazon and then search it there, you can find it. And if you like it well enough and you want a DVD copy with all of the dark and sticky extras on it, it's got 2 behind the scenes features, a commentary track of myself and my director Vincent Bellaccio, who's also another actor in the movie, and a photo gallery. Oh, it's great stuff. So if you decide you like it, you can come and get one on. That's only available on my website.
Okay.
On the disc, but you can find it on Amazon in the US and the UK, and I think a lot of other places now. We had put it out, and then it got picked up on more of the Amazon platforms around the globe. So, which I'm thrilled about. So go see Dark Realm. You'll really like it. Like 60%. It's more of an art house horror movie. It is, like I said, it's inspired by, like, The Wizard of Gore, and even Vincent Price had a movie in the 50s called The Mad Magician. And even David Copperfield did, like, one movie, and it was a horror movie called, if anybody remembers, like 1980 or 81, Terror Train. He's in that. David Copperfield's in that. So all of those things kind of inspired me to make my very own horror film. 65% of it is my stage show, but since it's horror based, it works in the context of the movie. And then there's a whole, like, spooky paranormal storyline that goes through it all. And that's actual acting, they're actual scenes of, the movie narrative, and it ties it all together. So if you want to see my show and see an awesome, weird art house horror movie, go see Dark Realm. That's on Amazon, US, UK, and everywhere. Just search Dark Realm. You should be able to find it. People used to say they had a hard time searching it on the Amazon platform, but now it seems much easier to find. So yeah. And that's good. I'm very thankful to Amazon that it's still there. They took a lot of indie horror off of their older movies. I think they're trying to keep the quality higher. I get that, and again, I was glad we made the cut. So go watch it on Amazon. Leave me a nice review if you like it.
I watched your videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I told you earlier, I watch them 2 or 3 times a night, different ones.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
What really got me is when the razor blades.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I was literally on the edge of my seat when I was watching that one.
Awesome. That's why I usually open shows with that, because that thing, it gets everyone's attention. Once I come out and open the show with eating razor blades, I can kind of do whatever the hell I want after that. Because I've got your attention at that point.
Oh yeah, you had mine at the first time. I thought, now he's gonna feel bad when you gotta go to the bathroom.
Everybody wants to know, how do they come out? What if one of them gets loose?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you'll like it. It's also in the movie if you want to see it because it's part of my show. So you'll see the razor blade eating is in Dark Realm. And the trailer for the movie is on my YouTube channel. So please go subscribe to the YouTube channel because I'm regularly updating and putting things in there. I just put up a nice, I was on television with Vincent Bellagio on PBS. And it's an older one from like when Dark Realm first came out. But it's a nice interview that'll, if you want to know a little more about the movie specifically and what we did with it, watch that interview too. But you can see the movie trailer right there on the page. So go subscribe on YouTube because I know we're on YouTube as well as the Evil Book of Face and another group right now. So find the YouTube channel because if you want to know more, there's a whole playlist for Dark Realm stuff, which will get you a lot more information about the movie before you go see it on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
thank you if you go see it.
How did you get into acting in the movies? I mean, like, what made you go to switch over into making movies?
It was that kind of a natural progression. It's like I'd spent a lot of time in front of a camera for 7 years. I had my own cable TV show, and before that, I was always videotaping my live show, so I could, study in for marketing and things like that, so people could see what I was doing. This is when you used to have to send a VHS to people. It was before streaming and the internet and everything. It's much easier to do now. So thank the goddess for that. But I was used to being in front of a camera. I had acting training when I went to college to study, not only television production, but acting and theater. And I studied that specifically for my theater show, for the theatrical magic and illusion show, never thinking that I would use it just to be an actor. But I had acting training. And I would suggest any performer, whatever you're doing, going in and taking some theater classes and acting classes and stagecraft, it's only going to help you for any of the artsy weirdos out there like me. But anyway, so I had that background, and then I'd created this look, with this whole look of the shaved head, and I wear eyeliner, my eyes don't match, so I had a pretty intense look. I still had, for a while, you'll see some older, if you go look for Fitzgerald's Realm, the cult classic cable TV show, that's a playlist on my YouTube channel as well. You can see some of my old cable TV show, and I have long blonde hair in that. And then long after when the show was over, I had shaved that all off. But my first couple of movies I still have long blonde hair. And then I went to a more extreme look with the shaved head and everything. And it was that look that got me offers from people I knew in the industry, friends of mine, that were making their own horror movies. And then they came to me and said, "Hey, you've got a great look. You have acting training. Do you want to be in my horror film?" And I'm like, "Damn right I do. Hell yes." And my first movie was something called The Item. It's in the playlist. Again, you can find The Item. It's on YouTube. And you can either search for it or you can find it in the playlist of my movie trailers and acting projects. And it's in there. The trailer and the whole movie is in there. And it's a movie called The Item, written and directed by Dan Clark. And also, Dan's also in the cast as well. He's one of the main actors. It's kind of an ensemble piece. And anyway, it's super, super, super freaking weird. Be prepared. It's got, it's another what I would call art house horror. And it mixes elements of it looks like, here's what, it went to Sundance, which was amazing to have my first film go to Sundance. I was like, oh, I like that. That's a great way to start. And the people, when they introduced the movie to the audience at Sundance, and I quote, they said, "This is like Quentin Tarantino on acid." So there you go. That's The Item, Quentin Tarantino on acid. So It's a really weird ride. Go look at it on YouTube. You'll be glad you did, but be prepared. There is a bit of there's all kinds of weird stuff. Lots of gunplay if you like Tarantino stuff. They're cursing like mad. They're shooting at each other. It's a crime drama. It's a sci-fi horror film. It gets a little metaphysical at times, and the body count's great if that's what you're looking for. So check out The Item. But that was my first movie, and it went to Sundance. I made another one with a friend of mine, John Lachago, at the same time. And, you know, just as indie movies do, one goes to Sundance, the other one didn't even get finished. But it got me started in horror films, and that's because they like my look. I mean, don't I look like a guy that should be in a horror movie? I mean,
we're going to take a quick break right quick. So I'm going to go get me a drink and everything. And
drink break, bathroom break. You guys come back and meet us here.
Yeah, we're going to play the P3 program video and the Global Ghost Hunt video again.
Perfect.
And promote that out, and then we'll be back with some more questions from the audience. Okay.
Awesome. This is great. Thank you.
So here's the P3 program video.
Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you.
Rising up like the moon, elevating the mood, uplifting attitudes, cause that's what we choose to do. And I don't know about you, but there's enough negativity going around with plenty room to improve. Yes, sometimes we collide with stress and negativity. We always let it slide. It's an elevated vibe, so fly. We touch the sky every time we ride.
Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you.
Now roll back time, tell me what you find. You're gonna see the same sucker MCs on the sidelines. In the fourth quarter when it's do or die time. That's when this crew is inclined to go prime time. From day one straight till it's done. But you all know full well that we only just begun.
Yeah.
We stick together, one for all for one. When it gets heavy, no we don't duck and run. Crazy thinking about the places that we've been. Now I could tell you stories that'll make your head spin. But like I said, straight, thick or thin, there's so many memories giving me silly grins. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew.
Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day one till it's
We're back. Yeah, like you was asleep there, Shasta.
No, I was looking up stuff. I was on Amazon. I was looking at the movie, and I didn't even move. I already had coffee, so drinking coffee at 8 o'clock.
Was it easy enough to find for you?
Yes, actually.
Good. Excellent. Good.
Stay on Amazon.
Yeah, we used to have people tell me that they couldn't find it with the search, but now it seemed to be much better. So thank you. Thanks for looking it up.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I could find everything because I'm always looking. I'm a night person, so I'm always looking for something to watch.
Oh yeah, you'll like it. Yeah,
So
let me know
I want
what
to
you think. And for anybody else out there, go if you're scrolling around on your phone while you're watching or something. I mean, put it in your watch list and check it out. When you can.
Yeah, we'll be
It,
watching
it's
tonight.
perfect for the spooky season. It's actually even set like on the 3 days, like on the 29th, 30th, and 31st of October. Those are the days the movie takes place in the context of the film.
Okay.
So perfect for spooky season.
Do you have any other questions, Shasta, you want to ask?
I don't, but I'm learning. I'm learning something new because I'm listening to like the paranormal part and the
Yeah.
magic part, and I mean I knew that kind of that was kind of like a connection, but when you start putting the two together and then wondering how that would work as a stage show, and then having a love for magic is one thing, and then when you try to work in a character and build all of that from a childhood, I mean, how did that? I guess what I'm saying is maybe this does form into a question.
Yeah.
Growing up, and I might have missed this because I wasn't listening in the beginning, but how did that play into your friends and things around you? I mean, did you have a lot of friends, or did people
Oh
look at
yeah.
you differently
Well,
because of
I was. I mean, I consider myself even now. I'm an actor and a gothic illusionist and the creator of Dark Sticky Fun for everyone.
right?
But I'm a creative nonconformist, as any creator is,
Mm-hmm.
and there's probably more of us, now than ever, because now we can go online and share our stuff with the world, which is
Right.
awesome. Which is also why doing something and making it your own, doing your own thing is vital, because attention is now coin of the realm, and you've got to have something that's different that people can gravitate towards, so they can find you. It's got to be your own thing. You've got to put your own spin on everything, and that's always been how I felt about performing. Anyway, I mean, I got a good, solid traditional base, but then I took it and went my own way with it. So yeah, I was always a weird kid. I always, like I said, I always liked magic and puppets and comic books and horror movies and sci-fi. Love that stuff, all of it. So I like I say, it always seemed like it was there looking for me to come and do what I do now, because I was a weird kid and I love that stuff. And not all kids do. Some kids are big into sports and other things. And there are a lot of kids now, they're into video gaming, gaming and streaming games and stuff. That's become a whole industry. So, there's a lot of ways to channel that. So yeah, so I was always a weird kid, a creative kid. I love to build things, make things, and stuff. I mean, there are several illusions that are still in the show that you'll even see in Dark Realm. I built those illusions myself, and because I love that part of it as well as a creator. So I was, but that, I think that just made me open up. It allowed me, to express myself, and I think then it attracts more people to you. It attracts friends and new friends and things like that. And so, I've always felt like an outsider, like so many of us that love, the paranormal and horror and performing and magic and just, outsider art kind of things. We can't, and music, especially like alternative and goth and industrial, darker styles of music. I've always been attracted to that stuff. And there's a lot of us, I think, in the genre and in dark culture that are. And we all feel like outsiders. And I think that's part of why we are attracted to it. So even though I feel separated through that on a more spiritual level and a level with the audience, when I get to come out here and show you guys all the weird stuff that I do, then I feel connected to all of you. I mean, there's an energetic exchange, especially in live shows, between the performer and the audience, between myself and all the creatures of the night who come to see me. There's an exchange there, and and I love that. It is one of the greatest joys of performing for me is that interaction, and there is an interaction, you know, verbally and through art and visually and also energetically. There's all of that happening with the audience. So, I guess that's a very roundabout way. Does that kind of answer your question?
It does. It basically, I think it answers my question in the fact that even back in my day, I mean, I'm not a spring chicken. Back in my
We've all been
day,
around for a
it
little
was
while. We're all of a certain vintage. That's
Yeah.
all. That is nothing but awesome.
Vintage. I like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Like
so
a fine wine, my
it
dear.
wasn't
Like
that,
a fine
yeah, more like a box wine, but that's okay.
That's all
So
good
back in the
too.
day, it wasn't, you couldn't talk about paranormal as openly as you do now. People didn't like to hear
Right.
about it. It went through its
Right.
phases. So now you're back into paranormal, and it's okay because now we have more of a way to connect. The weirdos have a better communication path. So now
Yeah.
we're not as weird as we thought we were because all of us weirdos can connect to each other.
Exactly.
And
We know we're a community now. Yeah.
exactly. And that's like the P3 program. We have such a community and we don't have to be so weird in our own little spaces because we could be weird together.
Because we get it. Exactly. We get it. We
Exactly.
know the language and all of the
Exactly.
everything that comes with that. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So it does. It kind of, you would think it would make you segregate yourself and you wouldn't want to share anymore. And it's hard growing up. But even, like I said, my 9-year-old daughter, she's been doing this since she was 3. So, you know, it's to her, this is just second nature and something that she's used to. And it's because we have this bond and we're able to mingle and communicate with other creators of all different,
Yeah.
you know, types, paranormal, from movies, from, you know, different things. And it's one because of conventions or movies or on the internet, and we don't have to be weird alone anymore.
Yeah.
Weird together.
I don't mean to change the subject, but do you want to talk about that? What we was talking about earlier?
The face of horror.
Yeah, the contest that you're in.
Yeah, that's it. It's face of horror. If you guys are out there, if you would do me a solid and go vote for me to be the face of horror, because come on, this should be the face of horror right here.
It's a good cause, y'all. I mean,
the links are on my page and on my Facebook and everything. I think you shared it too. I've had some friends share it. It's the last night of voting. If you're on the Pacific Coast, it ends at 8 Central Time. It ends at 10. East Coast for you guys ends at 11. And if you're over in the UK, you're 7 hours ahead of that. I think you can still vote, or maybe not. Yeah, I think. I don't know. You can always try and see if it'll let you vote. You just go on and you click on it, and everybody can run it. You just click on the thing. You'll see I'm wearing like half skull makeup in it and everything, so it is me. But you'll see my name plainly on there. You can read my entry form stuff, which is fun. One of the quotes, they wanted a quote from a horror movie, and the quote I gave them is a quote from The Wizard of Gore. So you can see how much I do love that movie. And you can go on there and read the quote. You'll be quite amused by it. And I've used it on stage myself a few times. So go in there, and if you would, Face of Horror, find the link. And it's just on Ron Fitzgerald on Facebook, or if you're going to my professional page, it'll be Ron Fitzgerald's Realm. Which you guys in the UK, you know the R word, the realm word, use it way more than we do here, actually. But I love it. I love the British culture and everything, and old Hammer horror and stuff. And I'm a Doctor Who freak too, so there you go.
Didn't you say that was for the kids that?
Yeah, it's actually, this is the great thing about it, which is why I jumped in. Thank you for reminding me. I'm out here begging for votes. It actually goes to benefit a children's charitable foundation that help kids get through cancer. And it says B+. It looks like a B+, but it's called B positive. And it'll explain it to you. When you go in and you click to vote, it takes you to a page. And if you'd like to, you can donate to the charity to be positive, for children's cancer. It helps kids get through cancer, and that's where your money will go from. That's not going to the contest. That's going to benefit the charity be positive. So when you vote, it'll bring that up. It's you scroll down and you'll be able to see all that. But that's why I got involved, because I thought it was cool that they attached the contest then to a kids cancer foundation, because you don't want to see the kids get sick with anything, certainly not anything serious like that. So even vote, don't vote, but if you go and throw a couple of bucks to the charity, I'll be happy with that.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to get that in there before it got too late.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I meant to bring that up earlier. I'm so engaged with all your questions. I'm loving it. So thanks everybody for still throwing us questions and everything. And but if you would Face of Horror, go vote for me, Ron Fitzgerald, Master of the Dark Realm, and I will be eternally grateful. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it.
And so the kids that you're helping, the kids will love it.
Yeah.
It's the first round in this thing, so we'll see if we can make it go all the way.
Yeah, that's what it looks like if you vote. I just went in and put in a vote.
Thank you. Yeah.
So there you go. This is what you just go in, and that's what it looks like if you put in your vote. So it'll take you to the screen, and it'll say this is for you get one free vote, and then it has donation votes, which I haven't gone into yet. So it's real easy to go to your page and just click on the link and you accept, and it'll take you through. So you'll go to your personal page, and I can go back and show that. So if anybody needs the link, they can find it on your page. It's real easy to get into. Matter of fact,
I shared it again today.
I will try
I'll
to
share
post
our page right now.
Yeah, we'll
vote
post
now. Vote as soon as you can, because this is timing out tonight.
Yeah, we will post it and everything, and all the links and everything to you and all that stuff.
Thank you. I think we can win this round, because I'm up at the top. It has been fluctuating between 5 and 6 and 4. I don't know where it is right now. The last time I looked, it was at 6. So get in there and vote, and we'll go jam it full of votes and get through round 1. Thank you.
I just, like I said, I wanted to get that in there before it got too late.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I was so into the questions. I about spaced it out.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the song at Monster Mash that you did remix of.
Thank you. I'd love to. I work with a band that actually did they've helped me out on a lot of things. They did a huge portion of the Dark Realm movie soundtrack. They're called House Made of Dawn. They were in. I mean, I've known him since he was in Chicago years ago, and they're now out in LA. And House Made of Dawn is kind of a really cool goth industrial alternative band. If you like that kind of music, definitely check them out. And they dropped an album last October 1st. We were coming up on the anniversary of that, called All Hollows. Find them on Spotify. Find them. You can find them wherever you stream your music or purchase your music, which I guess nobody does anymore. You just download it. So go find them and listen to it, though. Follow them on Spotify. They've got a bunch of stuff up there. But the latest album was called All Hollows. It's perfect for the spooky season. I've got Edgar Allan Poe stuff on there. He's got a song called Spirits of the Dead. I did one based on El Dorado, kind of a white boy rap kind of spoken word thing. And it's El Dorado by Edgar Allan Poe. And he did, the band did all the music and I did vocals. They also had me do guest vocals on Monster Mash. So we did a cover of the original Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett, because he kind of does a Boris Karloff impersonation in his version of the song. He was a comedian that came out, that was also a musician, and that came out in like 1962. So eons ago. There's been some other covers of it, but then I did one with the band, because I've wanted to do it for years, and I don't know what took us so long. But then we finally, kind of towards the end of the plague, we got together and sent them the video, because I was up late. I was finishing all my vocals and everything just before I went in. I had a little surgery on my jaw, which is why it's a little swollen up right now. And I was just recording, getting out all my vocals before I had to go in and do that. Yeah. And so I got to do vocals on a couple of tracks, so they had me on as a special guest. And so it's Monster Mash by House Made of Dawn. and it says then featuring Ron Fitzgerald, so you know that's me on the vocals. You can find that the audio of it is right now on my YouTube channel, but go give them a follow. Find them on Spotify, wherever you listen to your music. They're on Pandora. You can find them on Amazon. You know, anywhere you're going to find your music, they are there. House Made of Dawn. But anyway, we redid Monster Mash. We did some nice updates. You know how the original one is kind of based on Frankenstein, and that's why he's doing the Boris Karloff impersonation, because Boris Karloff played the original film version of Frankenstein. And what we did was kind of, everybody's like, oh, it's better than the original just because it's updated. They like the update. It is good music. And I'm doing the vocals on it. I'm doing it in an English accent to make it sort of different and give it the feel for kind of like a Hammer horror kind of thing. And now it's based on the Bride of Frankenstein. We changed the monster from male to female so we could do kind of a tribute to the Bride of Frankenstein with our version of the song. So you can go listen to it. But I'm going to do my very own live stream. We use the same platform here through the awesome StreamYard. We were talking about that before the show. And I will be streaming on Friday, September 30th with a tease of the music video. And then the music video to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the album All Hallows by House Made of Dawn. The music video will drop on October 1st, the next day. But we're going to talk about it more fully, and you can ask us questions there too. And that'll be on my YouTube channel. It'll also be on the Evil Book of Face. We'll simulcast. And come and hang out with us on Friday, September 30th. And then the next day, the whole new video goes live. And I've seen early cuts of the edit. Mr. Vinny is off hammering on it right now as we speak. And you're going to love it. It's great fun. Our monster is played by Lady India, who you'll see in the Dark Realm movie. And it's really cool. And that's what I was talking about early in the early half of the show, the first half of the show, where we were shooting in a cemetery. And it was Lady India and I running around in makeup and wardrobe and everything. And that's when the cop showed up and they got a report of vampires in the graveyard in the cemetery. So they had to come check us out. But they let us continue filming, and we got to finish what we were doing. So they were very cool about it. They were more entertained by us than anything else.
Yeah, that'd be a good video, Vampires in the Cemetery.
It sounds like a whole show. It sounds like we need to make our own horror film out of that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the start of one right there.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see it? The cemetery is awesome. The cemetery actually is in Dark Realm as well. We put it in there, and everybody's like, "Where is that?" Because it's really old and it's really cool looking. And you'll see us through the headstones, and you'll also see they've got really beautiful like crypts, mausoleums in there. And we've got Lady India and I dancing around in front of some of those mausoleums, and it's gorgeous. If you like, to go take a walk in the cemetery or go on a ghost hunt in there, or just go for a stroll, you'll like the video because that's interspersed throughout as well. So we got a cool look to it.
That's pretty cool. We did one in the town up next where we live at here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's a big cemetery. It's got like 4 or 5 little mausoleums in there. And somebody actually broke the lock on one of the doors. And I just took a chance to walk in.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, you talking about the heavy feeling that you can actually pay attention. You can just almost see the walls vibrating.
Mm-hmm.
Where they slide the coffins in that. Yes.
Oh, I love a cemetery. You know that though. I love a good cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that place will make you. We did. I'll tell you this. We did an investigation in that mausoleum, and I was standing outside filming in. My dad and one of the guys was with us. Was inside of it, and we had a cat toy laying on one of the little handles on the wall, and the K2 meter, and it literally went off and knocked into the floor. Nobody touched it. It just banged it, and I thought it busted the K2 and the cat ball way it hit the floor. I mean, it's like somebody just came through and knocked it plumb off.
Wow.
That was really wild.
There's energy in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very hard. It was very hard to breathe when you walk through the door.
Was it? Did you have any of your equipment, any of your monitors? Could you see if there was any sort of changes in the atmosphere or the temperature or anything like that?
There was a little bit of temperature change in there. It was
Mhm.
actually a little bit colder than what it was outside because it was raining outside, and have that little weird uh, ghostly feeling outside, like at
Yeah.
Halloween at night and stuff. It
Hmm.
was twice as colder inside of that than it was on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
That was
Really? Yeah.
first time I ever been inside of one, and that was really crazy.
We found a couple that the locks were not locked or busted on them, and we had gone in, and it is always fascinating to go in and take a look around. And in fact, one time we were out there at the same cemetery, and one of them was open, and we were in there, and I shot an interview with somebody for one of the movies inside the crypt.
That's
I don't know
crazy.
where that footage is now. I have to get a hold of her and see what she eventually did with it. I think they were using it for some sort of a behind the scenes documentary kind of thing, but
Mhm.
I never
Yeah.
saw the finished product on that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
That's cool.
Pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What kind of
Yeah.
upcoming events that you have started?
What's that?
What kind of upcoming events that you got coming out here from
Well,
next few?
I'm working on a couple of things. I'm still in the midst of kind of booking what's going to be the Halloween season, and some stuff I can't announce yet because it's still in the works. Even at this late moment, it came in late because everything's still the bookings are still kind of weird because of the plague and everything, and people are still cautious about things because they were talking about flare-ups and all this weirdness. But there are things happening, and one of them will be like a screening of Dark Realm, and I'll be there live with that and doing a little bit of illusion that's not in the movie, things that are not in the film. So there'll be some live performance, but then they're going to screen the whole thing. And once they've got everything settled, then I'll be able to announce that. You can always find it on my social media on my page. It'll be like announced on the YouTube channel, and it'll be all over the Evil Book of Face. And I'm on. You can also find me on Twitter. I don't use that much, but I am on there, and I am. And also I have a TikTok. If you want to see some cool, weird stuff, the TikTok has been fun, and I'm building a nice audience over there as well.
Yeah,
As well as the YouTube channel.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's stuff coming up. A lot of it is I'll be out promoting the hell out of the Monster Mash video and the music, the album with the band and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Aaron,
this year.
Aaron's got one here. Said the horror-based punk band, the Misfits, was arrested in the 90s for grave robbery.
Were they
Grave
really?
robbery. They wanted the skull of a known voodoo princess.
Wow. I've heard of that. There was like back in hundreds of years ago, like back in Shakespeare's time, there was a rash of famous people getting their skulls taken from their graves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it reminds me of that, but that's interesting. I've never heard that about the Misfits. That's there's a great little note on your bio right there.
That's not going to lead to anything good. Stealing
Well,
somebody's skull. No.
It is a great story, but yeah, I don't want to go dig anybody up and take their head.
No.
I don't want that, and I don't want that skull living at my house because that is not happening. Put it in somebody's mailbox, maybe. I'm not going to let it live at my house though.
That's like I like Ben Franklin, one of our forefathers.
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't know that he used to pay people to rob graves because he was a scientist also.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know.
That's how they used to get bodies for med schools.
Yeah.
They would send grave robbers out.
They've done research under his house where Benjamin Franklin lived, and they found bones under his house. Yeah.
Secrets of the forefathers. Yeah.
I'm big on Benjamin Franklin, so I like him. He's pretty cool. But it's weird, but it's cool.
Brilliant mind. I mean, that experiment with the kite and the key and electricity and everything. I mean, that's really, in the times he lived in, that was just somebody that was really thinking about harnessing energy like that. It's amazing just to think of that, and to be out in a lightning storm, getting your kite up there, everything. That's yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people thought he was a nutty outsider too, but he did a lot. He traveled a lot. He was well traveled, and I mean that's why a lot of his wisdom is lasts even to now, to today. That's interesting. Yeah,
a lot of people didn't know that he was that he did that. You can tell them that, and they look at you like you're crazy.
All they got to do is go look it up. Yeah.
Does anybody in the chats got any more questions for him?
Yeah, questions.
We'll answer questions.
Absolutely.
You have any more, Shasta, or anything?
No, I'm actually trying to figure out which voodoo priestess they would want. I mean that blows my mind. I kind of got started. That was my first experience with paranormal. Kind of one of them was in a graveyard, but not in this country, in Mexico. And I'm thinking, I don't know why you would think that was a good idea. I've seen the graves in New Orleans, and I've wanted to go in and actually visit. One of the very prominent voodoo priestess would be Marie Laveau.
I've been to her. I've been to her crypt.
I've made it to the grave, to the graveyard, to the cemetery, but never. It's always been closed. They close it really early. You could, if you don't go before like 3:00 in the afternoon, they shut it down because of the neighborhood. I guess it's in.
Well, the reason they're closing them down earlier is because
they're vandalizing.
They're crawling the walls and going in after dark, and there's rituals taking place in the graveyards, and they don't want the tourists to see that stuff. So they close them down fairly early now.
Yeah, you can feel
go
it.
In there, take a guided tour, and the tour is great.
Yeah, so I want to go back because I've always been, and it's always been late when we got there. But
yes.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to steal somebody's bones and bringing it home with me. No, thank you. You just keep that to you.
Yeah, I'm going to leave them rest where they're meant to rest. And
exactly.
I mean, every time we go shoot in the cemetery, which is often because it's such a great atmosphere, I always say thank you to everybody as we're entering and leaving. So everybody stays there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to step on them either. I'll walk around them. I don't like to step on their graves. I'm trying to. I mean, there's certain things you just don't want to do because
out of respect. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be caught digging up no grave.
No,
but that was the way that they got money. I mean, back in the day, that was the way they got money. They would take their things and whatever they had on them, because they weren't buried. They were buried with their jewelry and whatever, and they were dug up and they sold their jewelry, and people would steal it and sell it, and they would get money from that, and then they would sell their bodies to science and make money. Yeah, and that was how a lot of people were able to support their families, believe it or not. That was a big thing back in the day. Either that, or if you were in an institution and nobody would claim you because you were dumped there. Well, then,
and the conditions then in the institutions were so horrific that you're almost guaranteed to wind up in a med school slab.
They would just give your body to somebody because they didn't know who left you there, and they would just give your body to science. And then that was even worse because you never did get a proper funeral or burial because you were hacked on forever.
Right. So, you're literally being dismembered for science.
Yeah. They aren't batting 1,000 for some of these folks. I mean, people stealing their heads and selling them, and I don't know.
Yeah, it was creepy. They say that Shakespeare's head isn't even in his grave; that somebody has it, but they've never proved it really one way or the other. I think they've done some imaging, but they think that somebody actually took Shakespeare's skull. Imagine that in your production of Hamlet. There you go. I knew it well, Horatio. Yeah. And it's actually Shakespeare right there with you on stage.
Yeah, I think there's even.
I would charge more for that too.
Yeah.
There's even a fight
Mhm.
right now, I think, in the news with the current events, and
Mhm.
a country that is fighting over the death of the queen, where there's a head that
Really?
is involved. Yes, there is a head that is involved of a Kenyan
Mhm.
priest or something from back in the 1800s,
Really?
and they took his head, and Kenya wants it back,
Yeah.
I don't
and
blame. Well,
England
they
has
just kind
it.
of helped themselves to a lot of people's treasures for around the world, which are in the British National Museum.
They have
Um,
his head and they want it back.
wow. I think
Yeah.
I would. I think I would graciously return the man's head. Yeah.
I mean, after over 100 years, can you still find it? We were just discussing that earlier, my mom and I. I'm like, where do you
Yeah.
put something like that? I mean, what
Yeah.
shelf do you file it on? I
Um,
mean,
Did they have it on display, or was it just
I don't
kind of
know.
in storage at the museum?
I don't know. I mean, they've got somebody's diamond from India. Now they've got some man's head from Kenya. What else are they keeping over there?
Well, I would imagine
I
there's
really
even
don't know.
other surprises like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I know.
can,
And now people are starting to call and want it back.
Hmm.
can you
I
can
don't know.
you can you believe if you what happened if you would go to Hong Kong with with that head in your hand?
They'd love that.
Exactly. But they probably want to know where you got it from.
Yeah,
was,
exactly.
was you on here, Shasta, when he was telling about that? When he
I
was from
think
Hong
I. Oh yeah.
where they that's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just strange.
Well, there's
I
a
didn't
lot of
even know
weird
they had
stuff
stuff
out
like
there.
that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they should
Was
return
with
them
his
all.
head on a stake. Yeah, I think that would be fair after 100 years. We don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Has
mean,
any of y'all in the chats got any more questions?
questions from the chat. You guys, yeah, you have any more
Yeah,
questions?
I done ran out of questions.
That's all good. It's been a good discussion. Thank you both, and thanks to everybody else for joining us in here.
Yeah.
We're still looking for questions. If you guys, have any more before we're out of here.
My friend Dwayne said he liked you as a guest. You was a good guest.
Sure.
Well, I work with him, and he
Yeah.
joins in on the shows a lot. So
Cool.
he normally talks to me next morning when we go to work and say, "Man, you got a good show last night. Your guest was awesome."
Gotta make stuff interesting so they come see me.
Believe me, I told everybody since the day when we scheduled this. I told everybody at work, out at the stores, everybody. I was so excited I couldn't wait till tonight. I couldn't even lay down and take a nap without thinking about it.
Well, cool. I'm glad. I hope it was as much fun as you thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah,
Good.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
We were super excited. We were when we were creating the file. My daughter was like coming up with, when we looked back at the pictures and then we looked at some of the videos, and she was getting all interested in everything. And it's just it's sad that we can't come see you live because we're too far away. That's my
Well, and that's
only.
why I do usually, and this is something
Yeah.
else I'm about to launch too. It's like we always do a streaming Halloween show, like usually on Halloween proper or somewhere near that. And we're looking at doing that again this year as well. So you could, like, if you're not able to get to see me live, I mean, that's the best way to see it. It's just more fun that way to see it live before your own eyes. But streaming it out live, when we've got, we got a little more room on my full set, and that is down in the Bat Cave, and we have a nice Halloween show that we do every year, and you'll people will be invited to come and see that again this year too. So even if you can't do more performance on that than there is tonight, it's kind of hard to perform tonight because I need a better camera. I mean, this is great, shoots me straight forward, but if I'm doing something close, it's kind of hard for you to see it like this, and I can't do anything really bigger here because then I've got to have another camera much further away.
Right.
Yeah. That's what one of them right here. When do we see the magic? I was getting ready to ask
Yeah.
you.
Go to the YouTube channel, check some stuff out there. If you like what you see, go to Amazon and watch the movie. It's only $1.99. Come on.
We'll have to make a road trip. We'll just go to a live show.
Definitely, yeah. Well, and then as I build the fan base and things start to normalize it a little more, I'd love to get back on the road and bring it to all of you guys and get it out there again.
Where was you at when I was having birthday parties? That'd be fun.
I know, right? Hey, my birthday is 5 days before Halloween. It's my birthday. It should be played at. Come on.
Scorpio.
Wow.
Very good.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Mine's the 28th
Awesome.
before
Huh?
Mine's 28th. A couple of days before Halloween.
Are you really? Wow, both
Yeah,
of
we're
you.
both
That's
really
cool.
close.
That is awesome.
It's a wonder we get along so well together.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Both
That's
being
perfect.
a Scorpio, it's probably why we're both so strange.
I like Scorpios. I dated a Scorpio. She was awesome. So yeah, I'm bullish on the Scorpios. Yeah.
Awesome is not the word I would use most days. We're a little demanding. And
That's funny.
my husband's also a Scorpio.
Really? How does that
Yes,
work?
it is.
Because that there, once you get it, because I'm a Cancerian, I'm a moon child, and I've dated other Cancerians, and that now I just consider to be some sort of astrological incest. So I don't do that anymore because that just never turned out very well.
almost 30 years, and I don't think we've went a day without fighting. It's a wonder we haven't killed each other.
Well, but still, if you're
But we're
together
still
30
together,
years later,
30
come on,
30
something's
years.
working. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a very interesting dynamic with his cultural aspects because he's not from this country. So he wants to lead and women follow.
Sure.
And we're not in
yeah.
his country. So I'm struggling with, okay, you're in my country. We don't do that. And with
Yeah,
the
that's
whole
not your social paradigm.
Scorpio,
Yeah, you weren't raised like that. Yeah.
and then Scorpios don't really follow anybody. We lead
Mhm.
everything. So when
Yeah.
you've got two of us, though it's interesting. Let's just say it's interesting.
Very, right?
Yeah. It's I will honestly say we stick very much to our signs and
Mhm.
figure it out. But yeah, two Scorpios running one house is interesting.
Yeah.
One there said, "What do you think about the Aquarius or something else?"
Think about the what?
The Aquarius. What do you think about the Aquarius?
Oh, and me? My
Yeah.
brother's an Aquarius, so yeah, I'm good with Aquarius. I think they can be a little crazy, but that's judging because things can be signs can read differently for males and females as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From my experience, you know that because you're both Scorpios together there. So I would imagine even though you're both Scorpios, your energy is still pretty different. You clearly have a different social dynamic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's way more laid back than I am, I would think. I mean,
Really?
just look
Yeah.
at the two of us. Yeah. He's more
You're
quiet
there.
and reserved.
Putting on the leather, cracking the whip. Come on.
Yeah, no, not quite there, but yeah, he's way more laid back. I will start a fight a lot faster. As far as I'm way more intense than he is. So if there's going to be anybody that's going to say something first, it's probably going to be me. But I have an Aquarius. So one of our children's an Aquarius and he's way laid back.
Yeah.
So yeah. I have an Aquarius
A lot of them are.
child.
It's like,
and he's
the Scorpio
he's very
that I
chill.
dated, she was pretty chill unless, she got pissed off.
That's me.
Then you were going to hear about it. But that was rare, though. That was really rare. I mean, she was really spectacular in many, many ways. But
it takes a lot to really get you going. But once you get pissed off, it's like there's no holding you back. That's the whole Scorpio vibe. It takes a lot to get you going and then when you do, we'll follow you to the end of the earth.
Yeah.
Until we get our piece said. Once we're done, we're back to our normal self. And see, that's where it's a struggle. See, John's laughing because he knows. He knows me all too well. I'm like, I'll follow you to the end of the earth until you let me speak. And then once I've said what I need to say, I'm okay. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Now we need a whole paranormal and astrological relationship show going on here. I think that'll get everybody coming in with their relationship questions.
I think that's just more of the marriages.
Oh yeah, well, we must all, if that was the basis, we must all be Scorpio in this family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole family's crazy.
A horde of Scorpios.
Yeah.
Matt says, "What's up, everybody? Hey, Ron, Jonathan, and
Hey.
Shasta.
Hey, Matt.
That's the P3 program family creator right there.
Awesome. I thank you. Yeah.
Free podcast. I know he's got to have some questions.
Yeah, you have to check his wife's video out. She's got she does cryptid stuff, and she is a Wicca consultant.
Oh, rock out. Awesome.
She does
That's
a lot
cool.
of
I'll definitely check her out.
she practices a lot of that Wicca stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I've dated a few witches. I like them. Yeah. I may burn them on stage, but I have dated a few too. So yeah.
Oh,
We have a lot of friends that are Wiccan witches.
I
we had
figured you
some-
probably
couple of
did
weeks
do the
ago.
paranormal community as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had some guests that were on a week or so ago, a week or two back, that were a coven. They actually made a whole coven. There were 4 of them. Do you remember
was that the show that I checked out, John? Was that the one with the 6 women on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought that might have been the one I looked at.
Yeah. They're actually a coven of witches.
Ah, okay, cool. I knew it was something like that, but I didn't catch all that. I guess I came in and watched some of it, and the conversation was just elsewhere at that point.
Yeah. They I think 2 of them are the 2 girls at the top, the Connors. They are both gypsies. They're like mountain, all of them are Appalachian rooted women from the area, like North Carolina, Virginia, like Western Virginia. And so they're all practicing like different things, Reiki. I'm trying to think of all the different things that they do. But they're pretty, I've known them for several years now. And I think they have a movie coming out, which is wait a minute. Why am I drawing a blank? But yeah, they're all practicing witches. So
I'll have to go back and watch the rest of that one.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Where's the scariest?
They got one here for you.
Okay.
Oh, it says, where's the scariest place you've ever been, Ron?
The heck was it? I'm trying to think. We've gone off exploring and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of like, what would that be? You know? What the heck? Nothing immediately comes to mind. I'm trying to, because so much of what I do is theatrical and everything, but we have been in some places where, I'm trying to remember where the heck it was. It was just a dark vibe and you wanted to get out of there. And it must have been, I keep thinking it was some sort of house or something we were exploring or something like that. And it was bad mojo. You could feel it. And, but I don't remember, it wasn't any sort of big, well-known place or something. It was just some place we were going off to explore, but it was something old, abandoned, home. And it was just, there was bad mojo in there. So you did not want to stick around.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing any kind of paranormal investigation?
Yeah, I always thought it would be fun to take part in a paranormal show, bringing what I know to the table, which is as somebody with an open mind, but that I know illusion. I know how things, can be faked and stuff like that. And so that alongside an actual, investigator or something like that. And maybe, a female investigator or something. So there's some contrast in that way too, which would be really interesting. And so yeah, I have thought about that, and I've thought about maybe pitching a show like that, because what I do is stylistically close enough where it would be interesting to that audience, but also because of what I bring is more of the, I know how things could be faked and other people know it, than strictly from the metaphysical and energetic kind of paranormal topics and that methodology, and seeing the two of them side by side could be really interesting for an audience, especially because that way you could get people that were more skeptical but maybe open to watching it, and then the people who truly believe, which are the people that watch those shows. Those are the people that know it, they get it, they feel it, they've seen it, they've experienced it themselves. And and I'm kind of in both camps, but bringing the illusion side into it, and some that kind of rational mind, then up against something that's harder than to quantify, at least with the technology that we have now. That could be really interesting. So I have thought about doing something like that.
That's cool.
That
So
actually
if
is a
we have
really
any television producers out there, give me a call.
if you need a paranormal crew, give us a call.
Done. Yeah. Well, there would have to be a crew and an investigative crew, and but I thought that like personal dynamic within that could be interesting to people, because it's something you haven't seen yet.
If you think about how that would play out, if you've got a
Mhm.
crew that goes in to investigate the paranormal and they're getting the activity, and then you have someone like yourself that comes in with the background to be able to debunk from a movie and a illusional standpoint
Exactly.
to debunk, then you've got
Mhm.
that. Okay, this could be how they could fake it or how it could be an illusion. So now we've knocked off all of these other layers, and we still can't prove the evidence that we have, and we're still getting this amount of evidence, but we can't disprove that evidence with all of these things we've now done.
Well, that's what we
So
partially.
what are we still
That's
getting?
where then you kind of leave it in the hands of the audience and let them, as they always
Exactly.
will, they'll make up their own minds,
Exactly.
So,
And then,
but I thought that
there's
would be a different dynamic to bring to a paranormal show, and that could be fun to watch, and it could be interesting, and sparks could fly
And
at
there's-
times, and because those things kind of thrive like a reality show. They thrive on some conflict and stuff in them. So,
and there's nothing out there like that right now.
No, I've never seen anything like it.
No,
So.
there's not. Well, and I've
Well,
watched
I don't
everything.
think there's anybody else really that could do it other than me anyway, because there's nobody else in the magic space that does what I do, and that has a dark show and has 20 years of horror films in their pocket and everything. So
I was going to
I really
say,
don't see anybody else being a good fit for that kind of show, which is the only reason I would talk about it on here, because then it goes out into the paranormal community and you guys can chew on that too. But it's like, I haven't talked about it a lot because you have to be in the right space to do that. And largely you don't want to talk too much about your projects before something's happening anyway, because, it puts too much speculation, or somebody might try and glom onto the idea or something. But I don't mind talking about it because I'm it was something I was thinking. I was like, I'm about the only guy I know, the only person I know that could actually, bring the other half into that show for a show like that. And that could be
I
really
actually know somebody who would probably be interested in that idea, actually.
Well, we'll have to talk about that. That would be cool. Yeah.
Because I happen to know of producers
Oh, well, then let's.
that are already into the paranormal. Yeah.
That is my spooky ass phone, if you're wondering.
That is so cool.
Oh, thank you.
It's better than mine. I used to have this bird, and I would walk into the mall, and this is no lie, I had this bird on mine, and I would walk into the mall, and I swear to you, I'd let this little bird would start singing, and I would watch all the little old ladies in front of me look at the rafters trying to find this bird in the mall. And I would just watch them. I thought it was funny as hell. I just leave my phone ringing.
Great. Yeah, I have somebody that has like birds chirping on their on their
Yes.
text notifications. And you're looking around going, what the hell is that? You know?
Yeah, these little ladies
Crazy.
would look all in the
Somebody
rafters.
should make one that has a cricket sound. I'm sure somebody has done it already. But if you put like a cricket on your phone for text,
Yeah.
that would be great too. Because everybody would be wondering, like, how the hell would a cricket get in the house? You know?
Yeah. I had a frog once, but the birds
Yeah.
were better. The bird was always, they
great.
were always looking in the rafters for the bird. And I'm like, nope, don't know
But
anything
if you
about
want
the
that
bird.
ringtone,
I'd
actually
stand right there
scared
and just
people.
look at it.
It startled them. One time I was editing with Mr. Balancio, and it just suddenly went off, and it scared the hell out of him. It was great. I
If
don't
he's
have it on
editing
there.
horror stuff,
We're
I said if he's
we're
editing
actually
horror
in the
stuff.
middle of editing Dark Realm, and I was sitting in on the edit with him, and
Right.
all of a sudden it went off, and it just scared the crap out of him. It was great. He just jumped
Oh,
right out of
wow.
his seat. Well, because he was so intent on making that edit, and then the phone just went off because I had it charging behind us, and it just scared the crap out of him. Actually, I think it was either that or I used to have the Daleks from Doctor Who on my phone, and it came up and said, come up and say, exterminate, exterminate, and that scared the crap out of him too. Yeah. You are enemy of the Daleks, you will be exterminated.
Oh,
I had to
wow.
do that.
That's funny.
Well, I love that stuff. I love that show. So it is. But if you want that ringtone is like a sci-fi ringtone, and if you have an iPhone, it's in there. So if you want a spooky ass ringtone, it's there waiting for you. As you dig through it to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta put the
if
sound
you-
back in there because that creeps people out too.
Hey, Ron, if you want to go into the chat right there and type in C.O.P.S, it will drop your YouTube link.
Oh, will it?
Yeah, just type it into the regular chat, not the private chat, but just a regular chat. Type in C.O.P.S, and
Do I have to do it on my phone then? Or do I do it here? How do I do that?
I believe you can just type it in, and it will drop your YouTube link. People can go ahead and subscribe to you.
So I go into the phone and type it in? Just put in
You
C.O.P.S?
can. Yeah, you can if you want.
Let's see if I can get in there. Where are
What's that?
Matt said, sorry, I can't stay long. Getting set up for the featured broadcast. Oh, yeah. And I'm at the hotel in Virginia Beach. Okay, cool, man. I appreciate you coming in.
Yes, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks
And
for coming
that goes
in.
for all you guys. You guys and everybody in the chat.
You're in Virginia, Matt? It's for the beach? Come on now. You didn't tell me? I could have stopped by.
You're not that far from, are you?
No, just a few hours.
Yeah.
Nothing planned to do. Could have loaded up a car.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he has internet if he's at our beach. There's a really cool haunted location at the beach, especially at Virginia Beach. Yeah, Virginia Beach has some really cool locations. We have had the opportunity to go down and to stay at Virginia Beach, and there's a plantation at Virginia Beach that we investigated a few years back. I say a few years, it's probably been a while.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting. They had a hanging tree outside, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the name of it. We'll have to look it up now because I can't remember.
So, is anybody in the chat that has any questions for Ron before we close out tonight?
I'm trying to get it to work. It's still not going. When this is done, I'll drop the YouTube link in there for him. But I'm having trouble joining in right now, and I don't want to make it echoey. I've got the sound turned down.
Oh, you're fine.
I don't know why it's not.
It's called the Fairy Plantation House. So if you're down there, Matt, Virginia Beach, it's called the Fairy Plantation House. And crazy active little location. We are doing pretty good until we had some people that stopped by to investigate. And we told them it was a closed private investigation. And then they started sneaking around and beating on the walls. And then we're like, well, we're going to have to call the investigation because people knew we were there. And that kind of ruined the night. So we couldn't debunk anything after that because we couldn't keep people from outside of the building. But up until that, we had like flashlights that just randomly cut off and were completely drained after putting new batteries in it. Knocking around. I mean, it was a crazy house to start with. But Virginia Beach, because it's all colonial, I mean, you have a lot of crazy stuff that goes on down there anyways, with all the fighting and the first ships that came in, and it's a pretty active location.
Well, you want to go ahead and tell us how everybody can find you, Ron, on what kind of things you got, and then we'll go ahead and close out.
Thank you. Well, yeah, definitely. My website is fitzgeraldsrealm.com. That's FITZGERALDSREALM, fitzgeraldsrealm.com. That's my website. There's a store in there, and that in there is the only place you can get the DVD of the Dark Realm movie. Otherwise, it's on Amazon. Please watch it there, because then it's just there waiting for you right now. And you can also watch the trailer. I think you can watch on the Amazon link as well. If you bring it up, you've got an option to view the trailer before you watch the whole movie. Yeah. So check out Dark Realm. You can also find me all over social. I'm on YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel. You can see a lot of cool performance videos and some of my other television appearances, things like that, is all on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you like it. Then I'm on TikTok. If you're on the evil Tickety Talk, there's some cool exclusive stuff that's only there on that channel as well. It's under Ron Fitzgerald's Realm. You'll see the same photo you saw me earlier, or on social that he used for that, with the swirling black and white background behind me. And then I'm on the Evil Book of Face. I've got a page on there under Ron Fitzgerald's Realm. You can find me on Twitter, and that's under @RonFitzgerald2. And where else am I on? You can find me on Instagram as well. I'm on there under Ron Fitzgerald's Realm. You can find me on there, the same thing. So I think that covers most of them. And if you're business or industry people, I'm also on LinkedIn, but it probably is easier to find me anywhere else. Yeah. So on the myriad of things, and like I said, otherwise, FitzgeraldsRealm.com. That's my website. You can find out a lot more about me. And there's a link to my IMDb page, so you can see all the movies I've been in, and we, had to search and see where some of them are still streaming and stuff. At one point, Blood Gnome was actually on Netflix, but it was a while ago. But you can still find movies like Blood Gnome. Magus is really good, and I star in that one, and that's a really cool one about magic users and energy and things like that. And it's got great special effects. That's written and directed by John Lachago. Like I say, you can see some of them right, like The Item, you can see right on, and The Item and the Adventures of Kitty Zombie. If you want something family friendly, that's Kitty Zombie is kind of a family friendly kind of thing. Your kids could watch that one. That's in that as well. That's also posted on YouTube, and it's in the playlist of the acting projects and trailers on my YouTube channel. So all of those, and like I say, once again, Amazon for Dark Realm. And I think, was there anything else? And if you're going, you got 2 more hours to vote for me for the Face of Horror, and to help the children's charity Cancer Foundation for Kids be positive. It benefits them when you give me or anyone else a vote. But if you go, after you watch this, if you like what's going on and you think I'd be good for the Face of Horror, go on over there and vote on Face of Horror. Those links, you can find them easily on my Facebook.
Okay.
So I think that kind of covers everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And if you're looking for merch, there's links in the store on my website.
Okay. I got one more quick question for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Would you like to come back on the show again sometime in the future?
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. I'll have new stuff I'm doing. Oh, remember, that's the other thing. Jeez, while I'm here. please come back. You can on Facebook and YouTube on Friday, September 30th. Join me at 8 p.m. Central Time for the pre-launch with little teaser for the Monster Mash video, and the actual video will drop October 1st for the rest of the spooky season and beyond. You'll be able to see the whole Monster Mash music video for the new version with Houseman of Dawn featuring me on the vocal part. So that was the other thing I wanted. I knew there was something else I needed to tell you guys. That was it. But yes, I will be back on the show whenever you want.
Whenever you can, we'll schedule it. I done got a lot of Facebook comments wanting to see some magic. So
cool. Well, maybe what we can do is that, we can get it to where, because through the platform, through StreamYard, you can actually pull up a YouTube video and play something for someone on here. So you figure the tech out, and then we'll figure out what you want to play, and we can share at least video of somebody on here. Or if I can get somebody to work camera for me so I can move around more, then I'll try and do something live and interactive with you guys in the audience. We'll figure that out.
We'll
I
do
need a different setup to do that.
We'll do something like that. I mean, everybody they say, "Where's the magic at? Where's the magic at?"
Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel and in Dark Realm. Dark Realm has like more than half of the movie is live performance on stage. It was shot in front of a live audience too. Everything there is as you would see it. So for right now, YouTube channel or on Amazon for Dark Realm, and check that out. And then we'll do something live when we're back on.
I want to say hey to these group right here, Faith, Family, and Sports. I've been watching their videos. They're doing 100 live videos to, I don't know, some kind of content. They just spend time with each other. It's a family, and they do baseball card videos, and they talk, and they eat, and they share some stuff and everything. So cool. I've been watching theirs, and they've been shouting me out on their shows a lot. So I just want to say hey to Faith and Family and Sports. That's a good channel if y'all want to go follow them.
See, this is what I was hitting to earlier when I told you about we don't have to be alone anymore. When you look at what we do, and we're into the dark, and we're into the unusual and the paranormal and the illusion, and then we have Faith, Family, and Sports, and they're into spending time together, which we do the same thing. But sometimes the spending time together that we do is in the dark, looking at each other with night vision and telling each other to hush. Did you hear that? And they're having dinners or trading baseball cards, which is, having family time. And we still manage to make our two worlds mesh and connect somehow in content creating and coming together, and they watch us and we watch them, and we can still somehow divide and match the gaps between the two worlds and make it work.
I'll be right
back. And that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it, that we're still able to make that work in the two crazy worlds that we're both, circling in, and we're still able to pull in and enjoy the lives of each other. See, we're a wild bunch. So are we. We may not look like it, because most of the time, if you see us, we're in the dark, or we're zombified during the day, or taking a nap, and we're mostly up at night. And what we do is crazy, and people ask us, so what do you do? Oh, we hunt ghosts in the dark. And your conversation with people is not as robust as some, because we have to wait maybe an hour or two to listen to a conversation, and it's through a recorded device. But we still make these connections, and it's still nurtured along in a crazy world. And it makes you feel good that you're able to still have, I don't know if I'm making sense, but still able to make connections with people and still have all these different worlds come together at the end of the day.
Yes. Well, it is. We're creatives, and they're doing something creative as well. We're just coming at it from a different angle, different subject matter. But it is nice to be able to connect with everybody, which is easier than ever now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just like to say though, they're a real good family. I like to watch them. They just spend a lot of time with each other, and they sit and talk as a family. They just have
Mhm.
fun. You don't see that much anymore.
I think it's out there, but it's not always on display like that. So it's nice to see somebody showcase that, so
Yeah.
they can, because I think
Yeah.
you need to gather around and share and learn things. Who else is going to teach you about those cool old horror films you didn't know anything about?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vicky says she has to go. Ron, it was great to see you. This interview is awesome. Everybody have a blessed night.
You as well. Thank you.
You too, Vicky. I'm glad you got to stop by and see us. Yeah, it's like y'all said, it's a different community, but it's basically the same thing. That's the reason why we got the P3 family. I've actually seen that, and that's the reason why I joined that group. I can see that we were working together and things like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a different world, but it's not a different world.
Right.
They're different as in far as what they content create and what they're into, but it's not different in the aspect that we're all a family. And P3 really, when we first thought about it, P3 was paranormal, and we were coming together as a community, but it goes so much further than just the paranormal world. It
Right.
really does stretch out into all other aspects, like the paranormal. It stretches into other aspects like the sports. I mean, it really can reach out and put all of us together and make one large group where we respect everybody. And if we hold that respect for everybody and all of our different groups that we're in, I mean, and we have everybody's back the way we should, then
Yeah.
look how much further we're going to go.
Yes, exactly. It's just a different aspect of that, and that is it's good to see everybody bring their passion to the table, to the internet, to to one another. It's easier, like I said, it's easier to get those groups together, and that is cool that you guys have all that together on the channel.
He said, sorry, I had to step away while Shasta was talking earlier, but we can all get along even if we have different views and beliefs and interests.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, we can all nurture those things, even if we don't all believe in the same thing. I mean, we can all have each other's back, regardless of what we're all believing in.
Absolutely, because people are like that, and they don't. The division that we have, especially in America now, is manufactured, and it's meant to benefit other people, not us. But we still, as people do have more respect for one another and want to come together and have that conversation around the big table, more so than other entities would like you to think.
It's like me and my wife. I believe in the paranormal. I believe there's something out there that we ain't found yet.
There's way weirder stuff than we have even imagined yet. I have no doubt about that either. Yeah.
And my wife is right opposite. She don't believe in the paranormal.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be an interesting home dynamic you guys have. You got to have some good discussions about things there.
It is. She don't believe in it, but she believes in it as far as supporting me in the group, to be the supporter of the group and help me go to these different places to investigate. Like we went to the North Carolina battleship. That was an awesome place to go.
Cool.
And
so
we're going to start traveling here for long. I'm actually started looking into different places to investigate, such as Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia.
I mean, there's stuff. I mean, it's all over, don't you think? I mean, you could go to any state at all and find where all the spooky, weird stuff is. I mean, it's everywhere. And that's the great thing about it, is you could go out there on the road. You could be on the road forever just investigating things and then touching base again on some things, and while you continue to discover new ones.
Yeah. See, Shasta, she knows me. I'm a big Civil War freak. I love everything about the Civil War. I love each little nook and crannies. When she took me to Appomattox,
And I live in the middle of a battlefield.
I cried when she took me to the Appomattox that day. It was raining. I didn't care. It was raining. It was sleeting. It was snowing. All kinds of weather. Yeah. And I was determined to go to that place. We didn't investigate, but I was determined to walk around in that. You remember that, Shasta?
Oh yeah, you don't really need to investigate. All you need to do is to walk into these locations because it is. I live like 30 minutes from a battlefield. Pretty much all of the land here is, known to be back to the battlefield. It was all run by Indians. It was all either going to a battle or coming from a battle. Virginia, pretty much everything from here to the coast was a big battle. They were moving into or out of shooting somebody or killing somebody. Right. So the amount of bloodshed and things that went on the land here, being so close to Appomattox it's unreal. The things that you see or hear, there's something tied to the land everywhere. So yeah, you don't really need to investigate Appomattox. All you need to do is to walk in the place. And with the buildings still the way they were way back then, the buildings just give off an air of craziness, and you can feel stuff in the building. The buildings are not sitting there by themselves. There's something in the building with you. You can tell.
Yep.
Yeah. If Aaron, if he's still in here, Faith and Family and Sports, if you're in here, man, type in COPS in the chat and your link will pop down so some of the people here can come over and check you out, buddy. I think they're on the 75, 76, 77 something video of the 100 videos they're doing. But, all right, y'all. I ain't got no more questions. I don't think anybody in the audience got any more questions. They done.
I think we wore them out for right now.
Yeah, we ain't got but one viewer in here now.
Oh, did we lose everybody?
Yeah, we lost everybody. I think the one viewer is me where I'm on.
There's more in different places. We can
I don't think
some stuff in the chat, but
I don't think that counter's right.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I don't think that little counter on the screen, it tells me I got one person watching, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. But
no, because I'm watching, so it can't be accurate.
Right.
Yeah, I got it too.
See, they're watching too, so
they are.
Yeah. Go ahead and type in COPS, everybody, and Nightbot will put you link down there for you. That way you ain't gotta type in all your link.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this. I mean, I want to get on and watch some more of the videos, and I want to be able to get in and watch the movie too later on this evening when I get settled in. I'm supposed to went and got Chinese food and
there you go.
Goats out of the front yard.
That goes perfectly with Dark Realm.
Yeah. Well, they're probably closed by now. It's already 10 minutes after 9, so they're probably shut down. We close everything early around here since COVID. Nobody wants to work.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Give it a few seconds and it will drop your link for you. It's supposed to work because it's been working for everybody else. But like I say though, it's different. It's different.
It is. I mean, what did you think when you went and saw you were checking out my YouTube channel, and they should subscribe to yours as well? By the way, is your link in the chat? You guys should drop your link out there. I guess that they know about it if they're already watching, but if they haven't subscribed, they should subscribe to your channel as well. But when you came over and started kind of checking me out on the YouTube channel, what did you think? What was it that made you think that, oh, well, this weirdo is going to be great on the show?
I thought about it for God knows how long.
Yeah.
It's been ever since I saw you on Howie's show.
Yeah.
Ryan Fit. That night, it was halfway through. I stopped out of your out of the show. I went and looked your YouTube up, and checked it out. I watched like 6 or 7 videos, and I came back to the show with y'all. And
cool.
I don't know how come Nightbot ain't working. It was just showing it right there. Maybe it'll work here in a minute. Maybe it's got a little lag time.
That it might. Yeah. Sometimes the tech is funny.
Yeah, it'll drop it.
Mm-hmm. It'll get there.
But if y'all
Yeah.
don't mind, just go ahead and go over there and subscribe to them, check them out, and everything. I mean, it's just a family thing. It's fun to watch family.
Thank you.
I just get tickled at them. I laugh and watch baseball cards and stuff like that. So.
Did it pop up? Yeah. I mean, if you're into baseball cards, it sounds like you definitely want to go follow that.
It hadn't. No worries, it's all good. It should follow. I mean, it should got into it. Nightbot's gone crazy or something. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, if I got took some little girl into bed. You all have a good night. If y'all go on live tonight, I might swing by over and catch y'all on y'all show. So, all right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here, y'all. I don't want to keep y'all waiting much longer. I'm really glad that y'all got on the show. I'm really happy to have you as a guest.
Thank you. I'm thrilled that you asked. I always love to come on and do shows whenever I can, when I have the availabilities and stuff. So Thank you for asking. I've loved being on with you guys, and I really appreciate that you have me on.
Next, I will talk to you sometime, and we'll schedule it again later down the road, and we'll be more prepared than what we was this time around.
We'll give them a little more example of what I do. We'll get it figured out, the tech and stuff, and do something live as well. Yeah. But they'll be able to see more. But they send them, if they go to the YouTube channel or go watch Dark Realm, everybody will be able to get a really, they'll be able to see what I'm doing. So.
I really, if all y'all in the chat will go check out the one that he does to the razor blades.
I just saw the razor blades coming out. I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
That got me that night. That's the very first one I watched. And I thought, okay, where's something different now?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But you know what? I love that kind of stuff.
It's very sideshow as much as it is like magic and illusion. And that's what I like about it as well. It just got a nice kind of sideshow feel to it. Yeah. So,
but I think that's what makes it more interesting and entertaining is that type of stuff. But I'm into that. Like, I think there used to be a show on that was called Freak Show or something like that, where that
was one of the seasons.
Venice Beach or something.
Yeah, there was a reality show called Freak Show, and then there was that whole season of American Horror Story that was the Freak Show circus kind of thing. And I remember that too. They played a lot of David Bowie in that, so that was fun. But that whole season was really great because it was so freaky into the stuff they were in, and there was magic in there and everything, and the two-headed lady, which was awesome.
Yeah, and I like that kind of stuff where they take it back to like the nuts and bolts of the kind of stuff, like the sword swallowing and if you've never seen that actually done in person.
I have. I pulled the sword out of. There's a guy who was very famous for it, Johnny Mia, who was super old school, and he'd written a book. I met him at a haunted attraction, Castle Blood. If you're out there near Pittsburgh at all, go visit Castle Blood. It's their 30th anniversary this year. But I met Johnny Mia out there, and he does it, and it's real. They actually, that sword goes all the way down in their stomach, and then he bent over, and I pulled the sword out of his mouth. That's crazy, We
had an event here. I can't think of what it was for, but they had like a fire dancer. They had street performers. They had a sword swallower, and it was something. I want to say it was back towards Christmas or Halloween or something, around one of those holidays, and they did it, and it was downtown Roanoke, and they had a fire dancer, and they did a sword swallower, and they were like in the crowd and they had people gathered around them. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, how are they going to do this? So, I mean, we all gathered around and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way this guy's really doing this, but he really was swallowing the swords. And I've never seen it that close, but I'm standing like maybe 10 feet from the guy. And, it's unreal to see that stuff up close. And that's the kind of stuff I like when they go back to the old school entertainment that used to be on the street that they used to do versus stuff that we're doing now.
Yeah. Have you ever done anything like the Houdini does that locks himself in the chains and getting the boxes?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done it a lot now, but I have in the past. I've done the what they call the milk can water escape. And I did that for a whole summer, you know, in several different venues. But it's like a giant milk can kind of shaped metal can, and it's got a small lid on it, and it's filled with water. And you get handcuffed and you're immersed in that, and then they lock the lid on, and then they, you know, bring the enclosure around it, and then, you know, hopefully if you're doing it right, you escape from it, which obviously I did. I'm still here with you, so. Yeah. I have done that. I have done some escapes and things. I've got another.
Have you ever studied Houdini's?
I read a lot about him, especially in the beginning of my career, because that's who you know. I mean, probably Houdini and David Copperfield, probably, you know, the most famous magicians of the last century or two, easily. They're the names everybody knows, and. So especially when I first got in, I read a lot about Houdini, and there's a lot, you know, there's some good biographies out there now, if you're interested in that. But I did, because I was fascinated by the show he did, which was, you know, part escapes and part magic, traditional magic, you know, theatrical stuff. And then there was a whole other side to his career later on, which was actually a third portion of his show, his stage show, which was when his mother passed, Houdini actually believed in the afterlife and everything. And he wanted to make contact with his mother because they were very, very tight. They had a tight relationship. Yeah. And he wanted to make contact with her, but he started going around busting all of the fake mediums who were doing this, you know, fraudulently and, you know, making money from people while doing it. And he started to, you know, bust them and call them all out because he believed in it. He was looking for the real thing, but he kept finding the fakes. And at that point, he just started to out them. He just started to, you know, kind of dry up their money source because he was so angry that people were using really, you know, stage magic technology effects to falsify what they were doing. And I don't know that he ever found the real thing, but that was something that was really interesting, and that definitely ties into the paranormal, especially with Houdini. And another interesting fact about Houdini is he died on Halloween, 1926, in Detroit in a hospital after somebody had hit him in the stomach backstage, because he could tighten up and take a hit, but somebody hit him before he had prepared, before he tensed up for it, and it ruptured his appendix, and he died, you know, in 1926. They didn't have antibiotics, or they didn't have, you know, treatment for you. So once it ruptured, sepsis set in, and he died on Halloween that year in 1926. So that's another interesting fact about Houdini, that, you know, that he went on Halloween. Yeah.
What's the difference between magic and illusions? I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
What's the difference in the definition of it? I mean, what's the...
Well, sure. Well, magic largely, in a theatrical sense anyway, it's like magic with a K. It's like then you get into the witchy and the metaphysical and everything. But magic with C, that just largely means magic in a theatrical sense means smaller magic, close-up magic, which is a lot of times called hand magic or close-up magic, more on the nose. And then you have, you know, a smaller performance, you know, stage and platform kind of magic, parlor magic, which is magic, but it's not very big. When you start to actually, I think it's all illusion. Basically, it's all illusion. But what's come to be known in the industry and to, I think, mainstream audiences. When you start saying illusions, you're talking about big cabinets, big pieces of equipment, and where, people are then, entering, boxes and different things and being, cut up or run through with swords or, somebody crawling through your chest, it's something bigger. That's kind of what that means. When you say illusion, that means, bigger equipment, bigger show, and there's more people involved. It's even more theatrical, than the smaller things. Even though I've seen some wonderful presentations where the storytelling in smaller magic was really spectacular, and that was, it was still a big show, but people seem to reserve the illusion terminology for something bigger on a grander scale.
I remember watching it on TV where they had these bunch of magic people that done illusions. That dude's walking across midair and he made a plane disappear.
Mm-hmm.
No,
that was Copperfield.
They pulled the curtain and all of a sudden it's gone.
Yep.
That was interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's very large scale stuff too. That was a lot of what David Copperfield really leaned into. Every one of his television magic specials it was all kind of centered around one big, bigger than life illusion that he was doing. I had a guy tell me when I performed at the Magic Castle, I had a guy out there who was a producer told me, he's like, "Oh, you're going to be the next big thing. This is great. This is wonderful." He's like, "Copperfield is bigger boxes. You are bloody boxes." And I'm like, well, it's not all that gory, but you're kind of right, Yeah. But I thought that was funny that he said that.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get out here, y'all. I know y'all probably got some things y'all got to do, and I got to get ready to go to work in the morning. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I've had fun. I've had fun, and I enjoyed you being on here. It's so fun.
Thank you. It was a good time. I appreciate both of you guys and everybody that came and joined us in the chat and everything too. Very cool.
I've learned a lot, and this is like a prize fight. We show the first round, and then the second round we're gonna book you in again, and maybe we'll have a lot to talk about then.
More stuff to talk about, especially after the Monster Mash video drops and everything.
Oh yeah.
I was looking at Houdini. I was because I had heard about Houdini. Something that I was thinking, because I saw on a show the other day, a documentary about Houdini, but Houdini actually was into a lot of the paranormal himself back in the day, because he actually tried to send telepathic messages across the San Francisco Bay.
He was looking for the real thing. Exactly. Yeah.
He tried to send telepathic messages across the San Francisco Bay from a home in California. And he was in this tower, but that particular building had been used by several people. But he too was into the paranormal, and he tried that dark stuff and was trying to send messages, but he was the first one trying to send telepathic messages. I want to say to his wife.
Yeah.
So
after Harry Houdini died, his wife Bess every year had a seance to contact him for the longest time. Yeah.
So I mean, it's amazing how all of it ties back into.
It does. That was the thing. That's why I kind of made the choice to perform like I do, because it just seems like the perfect kind of thing. It just lends itself to the dark and the strange and the weird.
Exactly.
And most of the shows are dancing around it and not dealing with it head on in any sort of way like that. But I like to just, I'm like, look, this is a dark, weird ride. Let's go. And it's not, it's more, I guess it's more challenging in some of the material because of that. But it's like you're saying, it is all still kind of there surrounding that.
Yeah. Well, you want things that people are going to remember. And this is something somebody's going to remember. It's not like anything else they have out there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a few guys doing kind of spooky stuff, but it's like, I've seen guys that, people think they're kind of got a darker tinge to his show, but then these guys are still doing like a dove act. And I'm like, well, there's nothing particularly scary about that. I mean, it's a good act. I like the act, I just don't find that it's part of a darker or horror based kind of show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen stuff like that too. But but it is, so there are some other people that do understand and get that about the performance of magic. But I think I dove in a lot deeper than anybody else has.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Cool.
anything else, Shasta, you need?
No, 'cause I got a kid looking at me that says they're hungry. So
That sounds good. Let's go. I'm ready
I
for
know,
that
right?
Chinese now that you've mentioned it. So
I know they're probably going to have to eat something from the freezer. It's probably going to be a freezer pizza. Chinese place
It's
probably
like
closed by
looking
now.
at the freezer. Severed head or pizza. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a pizza or a corn dog tonight. Sorry.
That's like going to the carnival. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I will.
Thank you so much for having me on. And thank you for joining us and reading our chat. Thank you for joining us and coming in to interpret the chat for us and everything too. I appreciate
No
that.
problem. Not that I was doing very good when I had cannibalistic there at the beginning, but sure.
Cannibalistic, Kabbalistic, they look
It
very
all
similar.
looked the same there for a minute.
Well, I was having trouble. My eyeballs was crossing up and everything. So.
Well, the words are so tiny on here. I'm like, good grief.
They are. They need to do something where you can make the chat, make the print bigger. If you're listening at StreamYard, we need some bigger. We need to be able to magnify that so we can read the damn stuff easier.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm like, my face is down in the screen, and then then you can't see what the hell you're doing, or nobody can see you while you're trying to read that stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it. I loved getting into the conversation. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you joined us. Yes.
Yeah. So I really appreciate it. Thank you a lot, Ron. We will reschedule you again, and we be more prepared, and we will give the audience a good show.
But looking forward to everything coming up on the 30th.
Yeah. Thank you. It'll be fun. That video, you guys are gonna love the Monster Mash video. It's way fun. We've done a good job with it. And I can't wait to share it.
It's gonna be exciting.
Awesome.
We got like I said though, we're going to make it everybody where they've been asking for a little small magic thing. We're going to get him to do it for us, and we'll
get it together for him, or I'll either have a cameraman here, or we'll get it figured out for the cameras.
Yeah. But we'll get it scheduled. And Shasta, you're more welcome to come back with us. Help out with it a little bit if you want to.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll be out there in a week or two. So
actually,
next week we'll be out there next week. So if I can never find a hotel to stay in, we'll be out there next week.
So okay, I'll let y'all go, and I'm going to do my goodbyes and play my outro videos. And
okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and scoot because if they look at me one more time, they're probably going to get in trouble.
You better feed them before they start coming at you with the knives and the forks.
I know, right? Well, they're two totally opposite.
Then we will have Kabbalistic cannibalism right there.
I know, right?
Live in the live stream.
They'll be like painting on the wall behind me all kinds of art, and you'll have to decipher what they're saying. I know. I don't want that. I don't want to go down on the Facebook.
We want you here to join us for the next one. So don't let them cannibalize you.
I don't want to get my account like banned from Facebook because my kids are writing murderous scenes on the wall in my blood. I'm pretty sure that would not be the way to go out of Facebook. Although it would be cool if you recorded it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how long it took Facebook to take it down.
Yeah.
I get banned for everything else anyways.
So y'all have
that means you're doing something right.
Y'all have a good night, y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you again for having me on, and we'll definitely do it again.
It's been an honor.
And I love your picture in behind you, by the way. I don't know who took that. I'm assuming that's you back there.
Oh, that is me in Nosferatu makeup. Yes.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Love
Yeah,
that.
Jim
I wanted to
Torfleet,
tell you, but I wanted to.
SNS photos. Yeah, I'll have to share some more. There is, if you go to YouTube, there's a whole live stream I did where I had Jim on and we talked about it. We did a whole photo series and there's a bunch of those, but that's one he gave to me personally after the shoot and everything. And that looks just like one of the original, like something right out of the movie. There was a guy trying to argue with Jim at a horror convention that wasn't his photo, that was a still from the movie. But you can plainly see that I'm still wearing my earring. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I guess that isn't from the movie." I'm like, "No, Jim shot it." Yeah.
I have a
It was
photographer,
really funny.
one of the ladies that was on a few weeks ago from the Sisters of Magic, Pat
Yeah.
O'Keefe. She's my daughter's photographer, and she does haunted photography, and she captures a lot of stuff with my daughter. It's absolutely amazing. She, my picture on Facebook shows a Celtic, oh gosh, what is it? Tombstone, but it's actually from Salem, Massachusetts. Yeah, the big Celtic cross that's on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
That's actually a tombstone from Salem, Massachusetts, from a grave up in the area where they burned the witch.
Up in Salem, yeah.
And she brought that back, and that's actually a painting or a photography thing that she did for me that's hanging in my house, and she did the editing in behind it. But that's actually a gravestone from Salem, Massachusetts.
Wow.
That she brought back, and it was a gift for me for doing some movie stuff my daughter did for her. Some film
that's
stuff.
Awesome.
And
you have to show that next time.
Yeah, so that it's absolutely amazing. It's huge. But my daughter's been doing movies and stuff since she was 3, and she was in a film when she was 3, and that's just come out last year, I think, or this year. So
early start. She started even sooner than I did.
She was 3.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I was going to say that film, the picture back there reminded me of a lot of stuff that she does with the haunted photography. So, and now that one's away.
Awesome. Well, thank you for noticing that. That's kind of why I set myself up here, so I have some nice stuff in the background. But I'm glad you noticed it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it does lean very much to the Nosferatu. Oh gosh, look at that bedhead! Wow, that's scary. That's a banshee over there.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Hold on, I have a scrunchie.
Yeah, that's the next one awake. That's truly the wild night child. So I'm out of here. Y'all have a good evening. It was so nice to meet you, Ron. Okay, she looks much better
now. All right, well, go feed them. And
this one just woke up.
Oh, okay.
She's been asleep all day. That's what happens when you homeschool.
Extra hungry then.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll be up all night eating.
Can I eat this?
I'm a creature of the night, just like you guys, so I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So no.
Can I eat this?
Okay, y'all have a good night. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Like I said, I'm glad that y'all came in tonight. We had a good night. Awesome show. Ron has been a really good guest. I enjoyed it. We're going to try to get him to come back for long. It's really a great show. I can't wait to get him to come back. We're going to start doing a little bit more for the show for y'all guys. I thought it might have been different for the show, and it actually was. And maybe y'all will want to come back for the second part with him. And as long as he agrees to come back, he's more welcome here anytime that he wants. So I'm glad each and every one of y'all came in. My buddy Dwayne and Faith Family and Sports. I really appreciate them. I'm getting ready to go over check their channel out here in a little bit and everything. And Matt from the Parrot Crew podcast. I'm going to go check him out here in a little bit. He's getting ready to do a live. Let's see. Vicky, I'm glad to see her. I hadn't talked to her for a while, so I'm glad to see her in here. Dwayne, my buddy. I see him tomorrow at work. Off the Hook Outdoors. He's another good channel to go watch. He does also stuff with his family, his kids, and his nephews and stuff. They take them fishing and hunting. Record Crate. He's got a good channel also. He sells records and a lot of old songs that you growed up with. I remember some that he calls out. Lisa, I'm glad to see her. I hadn't talked to her in a while. Aaron, both of them. They've got a great show together. Let's see. Mom Knows Treasures. I'd like to watch her videos too. She's got a good channel to go check out. Hey, I didn't even see Arthur in here. Joseph. Huh. I didn't even recognize him a while ago. Irene, she was in here. I didn't even pay attention she was in here. That's pretty bad. That's how much I pay attention to the chat. Most of the time I get so carried away with talking and everything, so I don't get to see most of it. But I'm sorry if I didn't get to call y'all's name out earlier. So I appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming in, and I will talk to y'all later. See y'all.
to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive, you know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive, you know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you.
Rising up like the moon, elevating the mood, uplifting attitudes, cause that's what we choose to do. And I don't know about you, but there's enough negativity going around with plenty room to improve. Yeah, sometimes we collide with stress and negativity, we always let it slide. It's an elevated vibe, so fly. We touch the sky every time we ride.
Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive, you know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. From day one till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive, you know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you.
Now roll back time, tell me what you find. You're gonna see the same sucker MCs on the sidelines. In the fourth quarter when it's do or die time, that's when this crew is inclined to go prime time. From day one straight till it's done, but you all know full well that we only just begun.
Yeah.
We stick together, one for all for one. When it gets heavy, no, we don't cut and run. Crazy thinking about the places that we've been. Now I could tell you stories that'll make your head spin. But like I said, straight, thick or thin, there's so many memories giving me silly grins. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies, yo, I love this crew. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies, yo,
positive, you know how we do.